So what's going on, guys? Hey, look at that, microphone's working right out of the chute. I'm doing this right. What up? I'd say happy Monday, but no, it is TGIF, isn't it? Happy Friday. Oh, let me move that over. Let me get that adjusted. Yeah, still trying to put the pieces back together. TGIF, how you guys doing out there? So yeah, so it's been a while, right? Sorry about that. Had that little thing. Let me take care of this. Had a little thing called Comic-Con come up, and hey, the Beard Phantom. Hey man, long time no see. Saw the article you were featured in on Reddit. Congrats. Whoa, wait, there was an article in Reddit? Okay. If you got a link handy, I'd love to see it. There was an article that was on a couple of the news websites. It was me and a local guy named Larry, good friend of mine, who actually kind of paired this up, and a guy named Jay who's does a Twitch stream as well on Wednesdays and Friday, called the Indie Game Business, and it was talking about his online expo. So I'm not sure if it's that one or if it has something to do with actual Comic-Con, but I'll share some stuff on that in just a minute. But yeah, dude, if you got if you have a link for that on Reddit, that would be cool, man. If it was something that I'm not aware of, but let me see. How do I even find that? Do I just do Reddit? That ain't doing nothing. Let's see. No? Alright. So I got no clue how to track that down, but yeah, if you have a link handy, let me know where that's hiding, and I'll definitely call that up. Excuse me. So big thank you to the people that actually joined me. It was an early. What was that? Was that Saturday? I think I did that before the floor opened. So if you look down on the Twitch previous videos, there's me kind of walking around before the floor, and that's actually kind of fun. You know, to walk around on the Comic-Con floor before all the masses of people get in there, because once they're in, man, that's just pure insanity, and I just tend to hide behind my table the whole time. But being able to walk, I mean, half an hour, if you guys see the video, I went from where my booth is, which is basically on the almost the far west side of the hall, all the way to the east side, you know, hitting a couple of the highlights, kind of breezing through it, but still kind of taking a look, and then made my way all the way back to my booth before the floor even opened. At that point, I was, what the heck, right? You guys are still hanging, so I kind of like went over to the far side so you could see a couple of the other game companies that were there. The real game companies, right? You know, showing off their wares. But yeah, so I was able to go there and then get back. But yeah, that was pure insanity, man. That's the first time. That's my 9th time that I've actually displayed my games there at San Diego Comic-Con. But that was the first time I ever went solo. Normally I share the table with my wife, but you know, she's had a lot of stuff going on lately, and she just decided that she was going to take the year off and not even come down. Normally she'd at least come down and visit, but she was just like, you know what, I'm just burnt. I'm just going to hang back. So I was there doing the table solo, which, excuse me, I don't know if you guys saw the picture. Let's see, I posted it on Facebook. Probably bring it up on here. But just give you guys a little idea of my setup in case you probably didn't see it because it was on Facebook. Let me, my news feed, let me see if I can track it down real quick. No, they ain't gonna do it. Let me come back to my page. I don't know how to use Facebook at all, do I? Here, let's go. Let's bring this up. There we go. Excuse me. Alright, let's bring this over here. There you go. See if I can. Nope, I can't even make it larger, can I? Alright. Excuse me. Alright, so let me just do it this way. Copy image. Go to Photoshop. I can zoom it that way. How about that? Whoa, where'd it go? Photoshop just went gigantic on me there. Alright. Let me bring him back up. Let me shrink him back down. Here you go. There we go. That's what I was trying to do. Alright, so you know, for those of you that actually didn't see the stream, I'll give you a little feedback on that. So, as I said, so this is the back wall of San Diego Comic-Con right here, right? So it's great just to tell people, if you want to come visit my booth, just go to aisle 700 and walk until you get to the end. and just look for the arcade cabinets. That's an easy way to sell it, right? So it's really pretty easy to find. So this year, what I did was I just basically I made sure that the entire display could kind of stand on its own, and I could walk away if I need to. So basically, I have these 3 arcade cabinets, which, yeah, I know. Actually, the monitors here are terrible. The viewing angles are terrible on them. These are my old touchscreen monitors, right, which are great for actual touch input when I was displaying some of my earlier games, but great until they stopped working, actually. But terrible for showing. You can just see the viewing angle is not that much more steep than this center guy, but these Asus just completely blot out. So that was a big fail on my part, but I was one of those things I was debating whether or not I wanted to like drop the cash on 2 new like 22-inch monitors that fit in that space. So I decided I'd just kind of like tough it out, because this one definitely sticks out, right? So anyway, so I have 3 cabinets, you see, right? Each one with a little Logitech joystick, hardwired, not wireless, because wireless would definitely walk away when I'm not looking. Hardwired into each of these cabinets, right? And then I have like the little postcards right here on either side for people to grab. And then also have these little tablets, which I don't know if you could tell, but they are completely hunkered down, right? I mean, complete with like a little lock switch on the top with a key, right? And that is actually bolted down into a piece of wood, which is clamped to the back of the table, right? So the whole, like I said, the whole idea was to set this thing up that I could walk away for any period of time and come back and know that stuff had not walked away. And yeah, it came out pretty well. But then I ended up having ton of people come by. Oh, and here's the banner up here too, right? It's kind of cut off because you play the world / Galaxy's first video game starring Tribbles. Kind of get the same thing down here, which was nice in theory, but you can see it you know, you can see the folds in here, so it kind of mucked that up. In hindsight, this text would have been better to have above, but you know, it's the first time I've done a drape on the front there. But considering how inexpensive it was and how good a job they did, and it was a local company, so I was able to turn around very quickly, I'm not going to complain. But I may do that again next year, just with something to like reinforce it so it doesn't kind of like bunch up like that. But yeah, that's the display. And I don't think, let's see, no, I don't have them handy, but oh, you found it. Oh, check it out. Okay, let's take a look here. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Yeah, okay. Yeah, making it this little guy. Yeah, this is actually an article that yeah. Yeah, thanks. This is the article I did. Let's see. You got a link to it? Yeah, so kind of funny story. So the whole point was to promote Jay's indie. Here, I'll do it myself since I got to be a part of it. Indie online. Well, I don't even know what you call it. See if I can find some other way here real quick. Here we go. Let's see. Yeah, so this was the gentleman, Jay and Indy, who do their own Twitch streams traditionally on Wednesdays and Fridays. And so we had an online seminar, right, to allow matchmaking for game developers to meet up with certain individuals, you know, publishers and, you know, and things of that nature, right? So the original idea was the fact that the article was going to be all about this online seminar, right? And then I was just there to say that, you know, I'm a game developer and, you know, this is so cool, it makes it possible, which I was fine to do, right? I was happy to help him out, right? So the whole point of the article was to focus on this, right? And then my buddy Larry, excuse me, Marty McFly there. My buddy Larry was also going to talk about a little bit about himself, who he is the producer over at Night Dive Studios that are making like the remake of System Shock, right? Oh, whoa, man, I have not shaken on the cobwebs, have I? So anyways, what happened though was kind of funny. So we do the interview, right? And then at some point, I didn't even offer this stuff up, but at some point, it came about my history in visual effects and doing the animation. And then the journalist started asking me a couple more questions, then a couple more questions. excuse me. And then by the time it was done, he just asked all these questions, and and then he did a follow-up email saying, "Do you mind if I use some of your videos from your game?" And I was like, "No, dude, please, go ahead." And then like a day later, the article gets published. He publishes the article, and I'm kind of embarrassed because the article ends up being more about me, right? I just woke up. What's up, nerd? Yeah, so I'm gonna roll the dice here, right? My internet has been very flaky, so fingers crossed that it actually holds together. I went over there and yelled at him in person, so I don't know. We're 15 minutes in and it hasn't died yet, so that's a good start, but we'll see. So yeah, so the Beard Phantom was nice enough to point out that on Reddit there was an article that's mentioned in, and I was just giving the details of it. So I provide all this info, right, mainly about Jay's online seminar, and then ends up, so he does like here. So here we go, Tribbles and Glommer front and center right there, right? So we got that, and then it starts off just talking about, me as like the indie gamer trying to succeed, right? So I mean, like right here, one of the aspiring developers is Dustin Dare, Las Vegas-based game developer and founder of Scary Robots, right? And then he starts talking about my visual effects history, right? And it's kind of awkward. I felt bad because I'm not supposed to be the subject of this article, right? It's supposed to be about the indie game business online conference. Here you go. Yeah, so this was it, right? So the article was supposed to be all about this. Hey, Jimmy. Hey, man, what's up? Welcome. So just playing catch up since I've been like, I won't say dormant. I've been offline for the past week, 2 weeks, I guess. Since last week, I was there in San Diego Comic-Con, and the week before, I was trying to get set up for San Diego Comic-Con. That is the madness that it is. And I was just pointing out, the Beard Phantom actually mentioned this article, and I was just kind of giving some info about it. So it was not. Whoa, what is that? That's an annoying ad, full screen ad, jerk. So the article is supposed to be, now you're famous. Yeah, legend in my own mind. I show this stuff to my wife, right? And it's kind of like, look at this, and she's like, yeah, good, yeah, that's good, honey. Happy for you. That's nice. So yeah, I'm not even famous in my own house. Come on. So anyway, and then so if we look back in the article here, so then he puts up the video for Poke with Bob, my very first game. You can yell at someone and get good internet. If we had bad internet in Australia, we just have bad internet and we have to deal with it. Well, it's just because I went on to chat and I went on to phone, and neither one of them were even in the same country as me, so that didn't help. So I actually had to go. She's jealous. No. She could draw circles around me. Literally, she is a fantastic artist in her own right. But and then trust me, she's gotten tons of stuff. No. My wife. Okay, if there's that magazine called Heavy Metal Magazine, right? My wife actually had a 2-page spread where they focused and just displayed all of her art. So yeah, no, she's still like way beyond me. Anyway. So here we go. So they throw up Poke with Bob, right? And we come down here, right? And now we actually get Larry gets mentioned a little bit, right? We get a little bit more of Larry and some of the stuff going on here, right? But then they come back to me again and just talking more about my history of Tribble game, and then they show the video for Trouble with Tribbles. I mean, sorry, I've been saying that too much over the last week. Tribble Troubles. Let me straighten that out. But yeah. So that's kind of funny. I had no idea. I thought it was just going to be me kind of going, yeah, I'm happy to do this conference, and I'm making a game that's going to be part of this conference. And ended up being like, oh, you can see the article. I think it's like 70% talking about me. So, yeah, Beard Phantom, thanks for sending me that link on Reddit. That's too funny. But kind of an awkward thing, not what I intended. So anyways, coming back to Photoshop. So once again, for those of you that just dropped in, this was my display there at San Diego Comic-Con. And really happy with it. This is my 9th year, and I think I'm finally really kind of getting a good sense of how to pull this thing off. First thing I did too, and I figured this one out years ago. You can just kind of see it. If I can come back here. See this blue that's back here, right? This is actually director's chairs, right? Because if you get the normal chairs, so like my neighbor here, she's sitting down, right? And you see how low she is. So if I use the regular chairs, I'm just buried behind my machines. So I discovered early on it was good to have director chairs. I have 2 of them. You can just see the other one here, right? So that's tucked back there. And that allows me to kind of sit down occasionally. But to be honest, I mean, so it started on Wednesday, and it went through Sunday, right? And then Wednesday you have to set the entire booth up, have it ready to go by, I think the doors open like 5:30, and it went till 9 o'clock, right? So it's kind of funny that by the time the doors open up, you're already exhausted because you spent hours getting the booth set up and you're running around frantically trying to deal with any technical issues you have, right? You get that done, and then Thursday is crowded, Friday is insane, Saturday is even more insane, and Sunday, it's funny because Sunday is supposed to normally be a lighter day at San Diego Comic-Con. It's a shorter day, right? The show wraps up around 5 o'clock. But Sunday also traditionally tends to be more of the family day, so a lot more kids. And the kids see the arcade cabinets, and unlike all the other games that are on display throughout the convention, I don't have a line, right? So normally they see an arcade thing and they have to like wait for like an hour to go play the game, and they're like, right? Mine, they just walk up and they just grab the joystick and start playing, and so of course they love it because they got to play it immediately. So automatically I get like bonus points right there. So what I was talking about too was also the fact that I had these little stickers, and I should have grabbed one. Let's see, I think they're all downstairs, so I won't have a visual aid. I guess I could load it up. Maybe I could try that. You printing. So a buddy of mine had his suggestion. He said, here's what you do. He said, when everyone comes up and plays your game, reward them with like a little sticker. This is official Tribble tester, and I thought that was actually a very good idea. So order status, see if I can actually show it. Yeah. There it goes. So there you go. So I had 1,000 of these little guys printed up, right? And it was like literally $30 to get, $35 to get all these things printed up. And it was like this big, right? 2x2, right? And the idea was that anyone that would come up and play the game, I would give them one of these stickers. Say thanks. I would say the game's still in development, but since you're coming out and giving it a try, thank you so much. Here you go. You get yourself an official Tribble tester sticker for trying the game out, right? And of course they would go, oh wow. Anytime you give someone something for free, even this goofy little sticker, suddenly they're your friend. They're like, oh, thank you, right? And then I turn around and say, by the way, here's the card, and I give them the little postcard that gives all the information about the game. Normally when you just hand out the card by itself, people are like, okay, cool, thanks. But when you start with a, hey, you get a free sticker, you know, unlike everywhere else, right? We have to pay $5 for anything. I'm giving you a free sticker that makes you official Tribble tester, right? And then I saw so many kids would actually put them on their badges too, right? So all these kids walking around with Tribble tester stickers on their badge, which is awesome, right? So as I said, I got 1,000 of them printed up, right? Handing them out to anyone that would actually play the game. That was the gist of it, right? When it finally wrapped up, I think I had less than 100 left. So if that math holds up, that means that in theory, I had literally somewhere in the neighborhood of almost 900 people try out the game at San Diego Comic-Con. And considering there was an attendance of, what did they say, about 130,000? That's a lot of people. That's a good percentage of all the people that came, right? So I'm really happy with that. And even better, the feedback was fantastic, right? Everyone seemed to really dig it. There's very few complaints. A couple of people were lecturing me on the idea that, you know, have you ever heard of free-to-play? You know, it's kind of like, yeah, I've made 5 games that are free-to-play. I think I know a little bit of something about that. But, you know, so a few people trying to tell me how to do the job. But, you know, one person actually did find a bug. They found one vertical piece of lava that you could hang on to, right, and not take damage. So that was a great score. And someone else, so I'm going to look at this today. I already fixed that one, by the way. I already fixed that bug. But someone else also pointed out that he thinks the hitbox on the Glommer is a little generous on his hindquarters, on his butt, right? So he was saying that you could strike him pretty far away on the backside and still squish the Glommer. So I think we'll take a look at that today after I give my little show and tell for the internet. See, I got internet stuck in my head now. This stupid internet. No, talk about Comic-Con a little bit more. Yeah, so there you go. So there was the sticker. There's the display, right? Obviously before the floor opens, because once the floor was open, I was swamped, right? I mean, I literally sat for maybe like 10 minutes the entire convention, right? That's you know, you could do the math on how many hours that floor was open. I was tired. I was really tired, but it was great. Fun thing happened though. I'll tell you the story about this. This is kind of cool. So a bunch of people played it. I haven't looked at the analytics, by the way. I did put analytics in the game in each one of the NVIDIA shields. So I can look at exactly how long the person played it, right? how far they got and stuff like that, and then when the next person came up and played it. But I think the entire convention, there could have been more than like a 2-minute gap between someone playing at least one of the machines at some point. So for me, it was absolutely fantastic in terms of people trying it out, right? But what happened is one guy actually beat it, and this really nice guy named David who came by. He's playing the game, and he beats it, and he goes, so I just beat the game in 99 seconds. I'm going, wait, what? Seriously? And he waves me over. I look, sure enough, it says 99 seconds. I'm kind of going, wow, okay, that's a serious speed run. I've not tried to speed run my own game, but you know, he did, and he just completely destroyed it, right? So it's like, okay, congrats, right? Another guy walks up later who says that he's a professional speedrunner, and he asks if anyone's done it, and I say, well, 99, and he goes, oh yeah, I'll make that go away. So he plays it for like 20 minutes, half an hour, right? And he waves me over and he points, and it says 72, right? And I was like, okay, congratulations, new record, right? So David, the first guy, comes back some other time later, and I say, dude, you got beat, man. New time is now 72. And he just spends like another half hour, 40 minutes himself, and then he finally does it, and he's just like, oh, I can better this, I can do this, right? And he waves me over, and he beat the game in 58 seconds flat. I have no idea how he did it that fast, right? I mean, that's just, you know, obviously he's skipping all the stuff. He's doing a classic speed run, so he's avoiding everything, just trying to complete as fast as possible. But I don't know how he pulled it off. But so funny thing is that Dave was just having so much fun that he started hanging out, right? And next thing I know, he's actually just kind of like there with me. He hangs, right? And he goes, hey, you know, if you want, I can like hang around. If you need to like go to the bathroom or something like that, I can help you watch the table. And it's kind of like, dude, that'd be awesome, right? And that was it, man. He was, you know, for the next couple of days, he would just be on and off, just hanging out at the table, handing out postcards, and doing the pitch about as well as I was doing it too. So that was actually another reason why I had so much success, I think, was the fact that normally when I'm talking to somebody, someone else can come up and try the game out, right? And I'm tied up with someone else, and by the time I get over there, they've already, you know, departed, right? But with him, you know, it was like this double barrel shotgun approach, right? There's very few people that slip through the cracks, you know? So enough talking for a second. Let me just do a detour here. Whoa, I just totally freaked that out, didn't I? Stop. There it goes. I was just trying to do a bombing run. I just totally broke everything there. All right, let me see if I can fix that, what I just broke here. Okay, here we go. I was just trying to do a bombing run, and I just totally messed that up. There it goes. Okay. Did I fix it? Yeah, that's okay. All right. So it was great. He came out, and he was like helping me take care of that, so that was awesome. So any of you guys ever heard of Adam Savage, right? He for years hosted Mythbusters, right? Now he has his own new show. It's YouTube, I guess. It's a streaming kind of thing called Adam Savage's Tested. And the buddy of mine, I was completely unaware of this. My buddy said that, hey, did you know that you were on Adam Savage's Tested? It's like, I was, right? And it's kind of like, yeah, he goes, he came by your booth. I'm kind of going, where was I, right? I mean, I was there all the time unless I was doing like a bathroom break. It's like, what are the odds? I can't believe this. So I tracked down the video, played the video. I was there. I was actually right there in the shot, but I was in the middle of talking to someone else, and I didn't even realize this guy was shooting it, right? But I'll see if I can find it. Let's see, bring this up. It's easy enough to find. I think it is, if you just do Comic-Con 2019 walk floor. I think that's enough to bring it up. There you go. Oh, 87,000 views. Check it out, man. So yeah, so it starts off just, you know, doing like the pre-stuff, and so the idea of it, most of it is just him kind of like doing this hyper speed, you know, like just sweeping through there, right? A couple of key booths, right, where he talks specifically about some of the stuff he finds, right? Stuff that he really likes, right? So he's so there you go. Of course, Gundam. He's got to stop for Gundam stuff. But yeah, so this is normally what it looks like, right? So it's like high-speed stuff, and then every now and then he'll slow it down for something.
One of our favorite spots, Mondo.
Excuse me. So, you know, he's checking out this stuff, right? And then we go back into the fast mode. Wait for it. Yeah, oh, there's a good sense of also how insanely crowded this thing is, too. I cannot convey just how much of a massive wall of people it is. You know, years ago I used to like walking around and exploring the Comic-Con floor, but I really stopped doing it just because it is just, you know, it's so difficult to go from point A to point B that it's so brutal. So for the most part, unless there's something specifically that I want to go look for, I pretty much just hide behind the table, which is a smart idea because as soon as you leave your table, you start finding all the stuff you want to buy, and then, you know, then I start pulling out the wallet, which is always bad news. All right, so here you go. So here we're coming up. Check this out. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna mute this for just a second. So I'm gonna mute my music here for a second, so you can bring his audio up. So here we go. Check this out. So here you go. Back wall, right? As I told you, I'm on the back wall of the convention, and check this out.
There's a Tribble game? A Tribble video game. Are they just constantly breaking up and forming new Tribbles?
So I don't know if you heard him. He goes, "Are they just like breaking up and forming new Tribbles?" Dude, I would have told you if you asked. I would have told you all about it. But yeah. So in fairness, though, there are a ton of people that are always walking around with phones, right? On just, you know, on those classic Steadicams kind of thing, right? You know, so you never know, right? Who is actually just doing it for their own humor, just doing it for their own, you know, satisfaction, and who are doing it for something that's going to get viewed literally over 88,000 times. But, you know, my buddy posted it, as I said. He told me, he's like, "Dude, you were on Adam Savage's Tested." And then I asked where, right? And it's kind of like, how did I miss this? And now you see this in action. Now I really want to know how I missed this, because check this out. There's my buddy David, right? He's the guy he'll in the white shirt. He's gonna pop up here, but I'm here. Right, there I am. So I'm just busy talking to these people, and I'm just completely missing the camera back there. I'm just oblivious, right? No, in fairness, I'm trying to look at the outfit to try and match the day. I think this is probably Saturday, maybe Friday, but I think it might have been Saturday, which means that I am just, at this point, I'm just a ghost, right? I'm just so worn out. I've done the pitch hundreds of times at this point, right? And, you know, trying not to lose my voice, you know, still trying to be coherent, you know. At a certain point, you almost get that mush mouth where you can't even enunciate anymore. But I may have noticed, no point do you see me look to camera, so I'm not looking at it here, but I may have noticed the camera and just thought it was just some guy shooting it, you know. I mean, like I said, I'm pretty sure it's probably a phone or something like that. So, you know. So there you go. I got that. There I am.
Tribble video game.
So there you go. So I got that mention on Adam Savage, right, which is awesome. I even did a screen grab for posterity. There you go. So here you go. Just call me Captain Oblivious. Dude, wave to the camera. It's just right over here. Wave to... Oh, never mind. Right? But, so I had that one. And also, any of you people out there familiar with a streamer named Cool Duder? He's another guy that's been doing it for a ton of years, right? And apparently he swung by. He didn't stop by my booth or anything, but I do have this in the background. So he's actually walking around with David Sterling, who's a movie guy, right? But, so yeah, this is the one I thought was the best shot. So here's Cool Duder, and there is me and my Tribble Troubles there right in the background. So, there you go. That's my brush with greatness on that one, you know. But, yeah, so, what else? Let's see. Ton of people, like I said, ton of people. Had 2 interviews. Actually, I did. I had one gentleman, really nice guy, who came by, who was a third cousin of some guy named William Shatner. I think he was in some kind of space show back in the day. No, seriously, actually, the funny thing about it is this guy, actually, when he says, "I'm third cousin of William Shatner," you look at him and kind of go, "Oh yeah, I believe it, man." I mean, his hair was a darker color, but he had that classic Shatner kind of curl, right? And that kind of that body frame, you know? That guy is like, you know, if you ever got in a bar fight, you want him to be on your side, kind of, you know, beefy, you know, frame, right? And it was so cool. He does a podcast, and he also partnered with another company, excuse me, that's supposed to do an article about the game as well, you know, and he asked me a bunch of questions, and it's funny because so he has this thing is who would win. I think that's his turn of phrase, right? And at some point he asks you in the interview, you know, so-and-so versus so-and-so, who would win? and he asks me, and I think I totally flubbed it, right? You guys can laugh, but so he asked me who would win, Star Trek or Star Wars, and I'm kind of going, well, you got to be more specific, right? You talking about like like which part of Star Trek? You talking like Next Generation? You talking like the whole Federation, and also Star Wars? You talking about like the entire universe? You talking about like just good Jedi or bad Jedi, Dark Jedi? And he goes, well, Dark Jedi. And I'm going, oh, then I gotta toss it to Dark Jedi, man. Those guys, they got the powers, right? They got all those great powers. And then he's like, okay, that's interesting, right? And then afterwards, after he turns the mic off, and he goes, well, I was thinking, Star Trek has Q, so Q could just go like that and make them all go away. And it's kind of like, all right, I'm the idiot. So it was almost like this test that I absolutely failed miserably. It's kind of like, goes, how almost like, how could you not think about Q, man? Q just goes like that, and automatically everyone, all the Jedi instantly disappear. It's kind of like, oh yeah. So I blew that one. Also had an interview with Sci-Fi Magazine, which was also associated with the Sci-Fi SYFY TV channel. That one was a good interview. I hope I answered the questions well. This happened on Friday. Both interviews were almost back to back, and it was like right after lunch. So I'm not sure how totally coherent I was. So we'll see. I might have totally made a fool of myself, but that one will be coming out. The magazine comes out quarterly, and that one article won't come out until probably the end of the year. So I have to wait a few months for that to see light. But it was cool, man. It's the first time. I got I don't know if you guys remember, I was hinting at it before when I was prepping for Comic-Con, was that I got the press list, right? And I went through literally over 1,000 names, right? And pared it down into a list of around about 110 names that I thought were people that might be interested in the game. And I emailed out all those people, and literally only 2 responded, But to me, part of it is I don't know, because each company had like multiple people, and I had to kind of guess which one was the right person to talk to. You don't want to send a spam mail to like all 5 of them on the list, because that just really pisses them off. So I had to sort of like deduce rather, which one was the best candidate. And I guess I didn't do well on some of them. Or just they saw it and they were like, we're not interested. But, but I did get 2. So, that's better than I've ever had before. So that was cool. But there you go. I'm trying to think, is anything else? Let's see. I don't think I have it loaded up. Let me see if I can plug it in real quick. I was going to show, I don't know if you guys are interested, but, because I was going solo and I was all paranoid about stuff getting left out, getting from my car, which by the way I did drive down, right? So I went from Vegas to San Diego with all the stuff packed in my car, right? And then I have a dolly, and I got it all packed on the dolly for one trip, right? And that was key to me. I didn't want to do 2 trips because I didn't want stuff like spread out all over the place. But I did have this giant stack of stuff, right? It was almost like the ultimate Tetris game, which, by the way, I was a Tetris king back in college, so I did a very nice job, if I say so myself. And was able to get everything loaded up in one trip. But precarious, but I got it down there. So anyway, yeah, if you guys have any questions about San Diego Comic-Con, I'll start the music up again since we're not doing anything else there. Yeah, let me know. Give me a shout. Otherwise, I guess I will push on and start doing what I said I was going to do. Which is trying to get this game done. Not done, but I still got a long way to go. People always ask that. It's like, when's the game coming out? It's like, well, probably not at the beginning of next year. And they're kind of like, well, it looks done to me. No. It's only the first section, man. We got more stuff to go for sure. When was it? It was last week. That was why I wasn't streaming. Yeah, and if you actually look on my videos on the Twitch stream, there's one that shows Z-Doctor. What up, buddy? How you doing, man? How's it going? Thanks for dropping in. Good to see you again, buddy. So you just missed it. I did a big catch up on last week where I was down at San Diego Comic-Con. Here you go. I'll bring it back up one more time. This is my booth. I'm good. I think it might be a little low. Really? Okay. I'll bring that up a bit. How about now? That looks pretty hot. Is that better? Let's see. I got the music dialed down, I thought. Is that a little hot? Try and bring that the other way around. How about that? Is that a little better? Let me know. So yeah, this was better because now I can adjust your volume. Okay. Yeah, so this was my display. This was my table. Before I had it max and I couldn't hear you. Oh, wow, okay, crap. Sorry to hear that. Well, wait. All you other guys, no one said anything? Come on, man. You guys are leaving me out to dry here. All right. Alright, so just one more time, revisit here. So this was my, it was fine for me, okay. Alright, so let me dial that a little bit down because I'm definitely hitting the red on the mic there. Audio is very important to me, yeah. If I can hear, that's good enough. So this was my table. So that's last week, it was San Diego Comic-Con. Doing like crazy, had over, I think, in the neighborhood around 900 people that actually tried out the game. So that was fantastic. And, you know, as I mentioned before, too, I've been doing this for 9 years, right? And what's interesting is to watch people come up and they'll try the game briefly, right? And just kind of go, set the controller down and just walk away. That did happen last week, but very little, very few times. Most people were kind of like really into it, right? Which is a fantastic sign. And I know the game was too hard. I know that I should have dialed it down and made it much more inviting. But, you know, I kind of want the game to be challenged right from the get-go. So that may have hurt me to some degree. There may have been some people. I mean, nothing's funnier than listening to this kid, you know, who's like this, right? You know, he's so short that he's having to look up at the screen. And he just keeps looking up at me going, this game is so hard. It's so hard. Yeah, but that didn't stop him from sitting there for like half an hour continuously playing the game. You're complaining, but you ain't stopping playing. So maybe that's not such a terrible thing. Let's see. I don't know. Should I? I could also fire up a couple of the pictures. You guys can let me know. I can try and find a couple of photos I grabbed from Comic-Con, or I can just finally get to work and maybe stop running my mouth so much. But I did get a picture. This is classic. I got a picture of a Klingon. Actually, guy dressed up in full Klingon outfit. He was playing the game, right? So I have a Klingon playing my game. Yeah, it will be. The game, obviously, and then, well, actually, Z-Doctor, my objective is actually, because I'm trying to appeal to all audience members, right? So, as I explained to people that tried the game out, is ultimately I'll have 3 gameplay modes. I'll have a very casual mode, I have an arcade mode, and I'll have the, as I described it, kick you in the teeth mode, right? For the masochists that really want to just prove that they are the ultimate arcade god. So, but for this one, yeah, I mean, I still thought it was a good start, you know, and I mean, you know, it's, most people were able to progress on at least a potato mode. That's where the fur gets burned off and you just see like the skin of a Tribble that looks a lot like a potato, maybe. But yeah, for the game itself, I'll definitely have that's the American's hard mode for grandparents. But yeah, and then what I'll do is I'll actually have like a reward system. If you play casual mode, you won't get like the full reward, right? You won't get the cool video that shows how it all ends. It'll be more like a congrats, you finished the super easy level. Now, you know, toughen up and go play like a real arcade mode, you know, and then offer better reward for the arcade, and then like the full, you know, you are a god reward for the final game if you play the hardcore mode. So that's the objective. But you know, yeah, I could have gone back and sort of fleshed it out more, but I thought the 10 that I had was good enough. I didn't want it to be a total walkthrough, right? And then people kind of go, the game's too easy. I would rather have, for a demo like this, the first couple levels to be very easy and then shoot up into challenging, right? Because then what happens is the person kind of gets a sense of, okay, I understand this, right? And then can just ramp up to it. Versus something that's, you know, I've had games before. I had a puzzle platform game, right, where the first 15 levels were all tutorial, and people complained a lot that the game, they go, you know what, I gotta admit, this game's kind of boring to me. It's kind of like, I'm trying to explain that, well, they're tutorials, right? But that didn't matter, right? So personal experience, I think, for demos at a game convention like this is just let them, you know, eke out a little bit that are super simple and then ramp up, you know, and I think that's the best trade-off. You know how people refer to noobs as potatoes? How do you think Irish people feel about that? Yeah, hey, I'm part Irish. You know, Adair. You know, there's some Irish there. 15 levels seems a bit excessive of tutorials. Yeah, you're right. I mean, well, because what, and yeah, I mean, because what, it wasn't 15. What it was would be like a couple tutorial levels and then a couple of play levels that used the new mechanic, right? And then my thing was that I was trying to introduce a bunch of play mechanics back to back kind of thing. So, you know, so yeah, I mean, it was what it was, you know. I mean, it got adjusted over time anyways. But I mean, just that was like that was my experience where I realized that, okay, I need to get the person up to speed. And also that's where I also learned that simple is better, right? And that's one reason why my most recent games, I've not put a ton of new play mechanics in there, because I don't want to spend that much time trying to ramp people up into full exposure to the full game. So that's why I think it's actually better to keep it simple and just let them learn the play mechanic, but then just have lots of new adversaries to add more challenge to the game. I think it depends on the execution. Portal 1 is basically one big tutorial from beginning to even near the end, but you can sort of disguise it depending on the implementation. 70% of Red Dead 2 is a tutorial. That's funny. But yeah, Beard Phantom, yeah, valid point, man. I agree. And by the way, Portal, man, all-time favorite game, right? This is the triumph. Oh god, I love that game so much, man. But no, the totally valid point too, that a lot of the game does feel like it's just trying to teach you a new mechanic every time, right? So, and I mean, you know, once again, that's because, you know, Valve can't create a game, but they can take a game that's already far along and polish it into the quality of a diamond. That's what Valve does really well. I look forward to the day that they actually go back to making games, Half-Life 3, excuse me, Half-Life 3, excuse me, you know, and then just making an effort to actually make one from scratch. But, you know, that's me. Yeah, that's me. In the meantime, they'll just keep sitting there counting all the money that they make off of Steam and doing pretty much a bunch of nothing. Which is good work if you can get it, I guess. But all right, so what do you say we check out that other thing I mentioned? Was a gentleman pointed out that he thought the collider box on my Glommer. Let's see if we can find that. Let's see. Z Doctor says they taught you something easy, then the next few levels were based around it before adding a new one. I'm saying 15 levels a row of tutorials. Oh, well, no, in Z-Doctor, I think, yeah, I don't think I was clarifying on that. But that's kind of what I was doing, kind of like he's talking about with Portal, was the fact that I would implement a new feature and then give you a couple of easy levels, right, to implement that feature. Excuse me. It wasn't until level 7, sorry, it wasn't until level 7 that you actually hit a real, honest-to-God puzzle where people kind of go, whoa, what am I missing here, right? And that's when they had to sort of ramp stuff up. You know, so then from 7, and there was like 8, I think, also had a good puzzle element. And then by 9, I went back to a new play mechanic, right? And then so a couple levels after that were more of just a little easier puzzle level to you know, broach the subject of the new components. But but like I said, you know, I mean, still a fun game. I'm very proud of it. But now in hindsight, I realize that I probably should have stripped a lot of all the puzzle elements out of it and just kept it simpler and cleaner. And I think that might have helped it play better. So this is my hitbox, and unless it's a situation where, oh, you know what it could be, it's, let me see if I can do this. If I go into animator, can I actually show him? Let's see if I do an attack. It may be one of the things that he was doing an attack. Oops, that's actually Tribble, isn't it? Let me go animation, Glommer controller. There it goes. So attacking. All right. Are you gonna? No, you're not gonna play for me. No, you're not. Okay, you're a jerk. Let's see. Yeah, sometimes it shows it correctly and sometimes it doesn't. But I think what might be happening, let's do it animation. We'll come at it this way. We'll do it this way. Attacking. Yeah, and then now we're not getting the collider box, of course. Let's see. There's our, okay. So there's our collider box. Tell you what, we'll 3D object. Can I do it this way? Oof, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, this will work. So I'm just gonna use this as a reference. Oh, okay, turn off autosave while I do this. All right. Let's see, is that gonna be close? You know what? I should move this up. There he goes. All right, so that's pretty close. Just gonna use this as a reference. All right, and then this one. Okay, so let's scale them up a little bit, like this, like so, and that should be in the neighborhood. A little bit more. Try that. Yeah. All right. Cube, and then can I push him? I don't think I can do it. Oops, that's rotation. There, good. That's what I wanted. Okay, good. So let's come back to our glommer. All right. Okay. Hit it that way. There he goes. So now we can check. So. Okay, so no, yeah, and so that white box would represent the collider box, which would actually stay in that same spot, right? So I don't see anything too insane there, right? I mean, that's as far forward as he goes. So I mean, no, I don't think that's the culprit. So let's check charging. So same as there. Idle, no. Looking around. So I don't know if I agree. I mean, I don't know if it's just this one time that you know, the way he was describing it was that he was saying that he was hanging on the wall and then he did a drop down and he was able to squish on the backside in a way that he felt was too overly indulgent. But I'm looking at my animations and I'm not really seeing anything that looks like he's going. I mean, what I'm looking for is an animation where he goes so far that direction, right? No, I was right the first time. That direction, right? That it creates this gap back here. So then he lands back on this backside and it squishes him, even though it feels like he's not actually striking. So pre-charge. Yeah. No, it wouldn't be a pre-charge anyways. Squish back. Okay, there's squish, squish, and then walking. Yeah. So I'm just gonna sort of chalk that one up into something he kind of felt that one time, but I don't think I'm gonna necessarily agree. But tell you what, we'll do this. Get rid of the cube. We'll turn autosave back on. Get rid of that cube. Well, there's a bit of a white space that's not part of the body sprite that just might be hit. Right, but I mean it's literally only over frame, and if anything, I want the hitbox to be generous versus stingy. I'd rather the player to be able to hit a character and kind of go, ooh, I don't know if I hit him, versus what the heck, I just hit this guy and it didn't even register. So I mean, I was looking for something a lot more obvious, right? I was looking for a giant gap. But tell you what, we'll test that out right now. See if I can replicate. All right. So you're saying when you walk back? Well, so that was okay. He kicked my butt on that one, so it wasn't that much. So let's go. Yeah. So I mean, I'm scraping his butt, and it's not detecting. But that's what he said he was doing. Was he did it when he was hanging on the wall and dropped down on him? So I'm assuming that would be on a walk back. So yeah, there. I mean, he was hitting body there, right? I definitely felt like he was hitting body. So we'll try it again, and we'll see if we can actually try and do it. Jump over him, right? Leapfrog him, and then land on his back end as he's going by us. Ow, crap. There. Okay. You know, that was a little early, but I think I have better luck trying to do it with the grabbing onto the wall. I have a better chance of timing it right. But, I mean, if that previous one is any indication, then I just think that he was kind of overseeing something that... Yeah, oh, that was too early. That's a bad example. All right. Oh, and someone's also making the comment that they didn't like the boxiness here, right? Of this, right? It's kind of like the sharp edge on the shadow. I was kind of like, you know what? That's gonna be tough. That's a plugin, and that really doesn't bother me too much. And the only way I could do it to improve that would probably change performance significantly. You feel like it barely hit when he got squished. Okay. Well, oh shoot. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, he's scraping the back end, right? But I mean, I look at it as if any fur is striking any part of that back end, I want to give it to the gamer. I don't want something where it looks like it passes through. So I'm actually okay with it. I'm going to let that live because I would rather be in the gamer's favor rather than screwing it. I think having the more generous collider would feel better. Yeah, I concur. So, all right. So we're good with that. I'm definitely have to go back to my very, very talented artist, Daniel, and have him redo this because I found a nickel for every time I heard someone say, oh, so what do I get if I collect the brains? It's like, no, they're grains, not brains. They're grain. Oh, they do kind of look like brains, kind of. Yeah. So I got to come up with something of a different idea for that one, unfortunately. But that's why I test it. You know, when the first time someone says it, it's kind of funny and you can be dismissive of it. But by the 10th or 15th or 20th time that somebody says, so wait, are those brains? You gotta go, yeah, but they shouldn't be. I wouldn't be able to tell what it is. Yeah, I know. And it's a hard thing to sort of like convey, right? Because what you're trying to do is convey like a giant pile of grain, right? When you said brains, then I was like, oh, I see it. Yeah. And some people go in that direction, right? You know, obviously when you think of, would not have seen that, seen grain. No, and still don't. No, and I mean, that was sort of like a creative decision. The idea was that it was, you know, yeah, when you think of grain, you think more like the bird seed in the old Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner kind of thing, like this giant pile of yellow pebble, right? But that, I would love to do that, right? Have this giant pile of yellow pebble just sitting there. But the problem with the yellow pebble is the fact that it's going to totally blend in this background. So my artist came up with the creative idea of going with the green shade, which was great, but I just think the shape's not selling it right now. Could you maybe use a circle collider to smooth out the shadowing problem? In my opinion, it does look a little rough in certain conditions. Well, what I have to check into is how it's calculating it, because if it's calculating it off of the collider box, which I don't think it is, because I started experimenting and taking this collider box and shrinking it down. So I think the plugin actually looks at the geometry and just finds the outer edges, right, and strikes that. So I can dig into that more. It's the 2DDL, I think, is the plugin I was using on that one. So I can try and look into that, but I think, so here, I'll give you an example of what I was talking about. I imagine a wheat stalk. Yeah, but that's a nice idea. But the idea is that the premise is that the Tribble eats all the wheat that it normally finds on ships, right? And what happens is the Tribble gets beamed down while he's in the middle of it. So all that wheat kind of gets dispersed throughout the planet, right? So it's already like processed wheat, right? So the wheat stalk is a nice idea, but it's kind of contrary to what it should be, I think. But it's a good suggestion. If it uses the sprite, but my sprite is actually like 25 separate little pieces of fur tuft. Sprite geometry, you can try change the import settings for the sprites to use tight instead of full rect. Okay, I could try that. If it was on a ship, wouldn't it be in bags? Canisters. You know, if you look at the classic Star Trek episode, they were actually canisters. So, I mean, maybe I could just, take the creative license of having little cans, right, with the, with the name on there. So maybe, like, it was the idea that when I show the Tribble eating the food in the beginning, it's a bunch of cans that kind of split open and then spilling all over the place, right? And then when it gets beamed down, the cans get beamed down, so it implies, yeah, that's actually not a terrible idea. Because if I establish the cans, they've been split open, and the Tribble is eating the spilled, right? Then if you see the cans, you make the connection because I already established it on the ship. In the original Star Trek series, they were literally barrels, right? You know, if you watch Star Trek or the animated series, they're large industrial barrels, but I could get away with cans, I think. They explain why nothing else ate them. Yeah. Yep. Well, and then, Glommers aren't going to eat them because the Glommers, they were genetically engineered by Klingons to do one thing in life, and that is to eat tribbles. That's the only reason Glommers exist. So that's a simple explanation why they wouldn't be eating it. But yeah, so I'd been thinking about that, trying to come up with something different, but the can mindset I think is actually pretty good because I can show that in like a giant pile of split open cans, right, and a pile of it, but then when you see cans sitting there, you make the callback, you make the connection to what I've already established. So that's not a terrible idea. And then I was going to show something else here, but then I just completely blanked on what I was thinking about. Oh yeah, I was going to show, let me come out of full screen here and show what I was talking about. So, where's my scene? Really? Oh, because I'm in a... There you go. Oh, or you can even have open cans with some grain spilling out. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not a terrible idea of backlit, and you just see like little grain dripping down on the side or something like that, just to sell that it's, you know, like if it's like leaning over and little bits of it kind of perpetually kind of dripping out. That's actually good. I like that. That's a good suggestion. Yep. Yeah, so my artist would be able to come up with something fantastic for that, and then I could just animate the grain kind of dripping out of it slowly. Yep, because I have it right now. The idea is the grain that you find, the brains that you find, they're resting on what's back here on the background, right? So there's no reason why I can't have it just kind of with a can, you know, that's just kind of leaning forward and spilling out. So, yep, I think that worked. Okay, so what I was going to do was demonstrate the fact that if I come here and I take the box collider, if I drop this down like 0.4, right? So now if we look here, you can see the box collider is now deeply inside of the Tribble, right? So much so that if I take it off a pause, you can see he sinks into the ground, right? So, you know, but, oops, let me actually come into the gameplay mode here. But now if we look, right? So even though I've done that, so we come in here, you can see that, so it's not feeding off of the collider box, obviously, because you can see, boom, we're just doing that. You can embed the cans into the walls and the ground. Yeah, well, the key thing is I put it in the background layer, right? All those things are in the background layer, so it has this nice parallax shift, you know, as you're moving up and down. So it's kind of, I think, more enjoyable to have it sort of like in the background, so it just kind of separates it and helps sell that depth. But yeah, I mean, that's what it's doing right here. All the pieces just kind of hang on those background pieces, so it could just be hanging there instead of the green brains. So that's definitely a correction. Excuse me. So the Beard Phantom, I like your theory about it coming off of whatever it finds. So let me try that. If I go tight, God, I hate to do that because I know how much. Well, you know what? What the heck? Because if we look at my stats, yeah, I have 38 draw calls right now, so I'm still pretty low. My poly count, I have 4,000 tries. I only have 4,000 tries, so you know what? If I go tight on the sprites on that shouldn't be a big deal. Yeah, exactly. Brains. Yeah, triples look cute and furry until you realize that their favorite thing to eat are brains. Alright, so let me try that. Yeah, Beard Phantom. That's a good suggestion. Let me see what I can do here. So first I gotta find, I think I have under objects, Tribble, nope, images, characters, Tribble segments. There she is. Alright, 2D sprite editor. Now let's see what we can do here. Custom outline. Let's see, if we do this, we go generate. Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely tightening it up there. So if we go 0.5, generate. Yeah. It's probably a little overkill. So let's go back to 0.25. I'm gonna clean up a little bit. There you go. All right. So, I hate the fact that the Alt middle mouse is not the way it works. Like it takes some Photoshop commands and then kind of ignores others. So if I select everybody, no, I can't. Really, I gotta do it one at a time. Really? Well, that's just kind of crappy, isn't it? Okay. Custom outline 0.25 generate. I gotta do for each. That is a shortcoming. That's just kind of crappy. Yeah, I'll do it for him as well. That's the background ball, which basically never gets seen anyways, but just since I'm doing this, 0.25 generate. And worst case, I can always revert it back if I have to. Alright, so I did him. 0.25. So D-Doctor, 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 Dr. Detroit, Z-Doctor, what's been up with you, buddy? You back to doing some game dev stuff now? What have you been up to, man? And oh god, why is it every time I try and select it just freaks out? There you go. Do a nice little secondary bombing run for you guys. There you go. Did I do that all right? Yeah, I got it back in place. Good. Generate. Haven't been game deving really, but I've been developing with WPF. Enlighten me. WPF. Word Perfect Forever. I'm not familiar with WPF. Windows Presentation Foundation. Wow, dude. Okay. I'm completely ignorant. Enlighten me. Tell me about that. That sounds interesting. Give me an idea what that's all about. I mean, is that kind of like Macromedia Director used to be? Is it something like that, or is it more robust? What Windows Forums is? Not really. Probably should, but the answer is no. So yeah, back up. Fill me in on that as well. Is that like CSS kind of stuff, or? Alright, let me think. Let me dumb it down for you. Let me break it down Barney style for anyone that reads that series of books there. I just bought domestic drone and Warframe for 100 plat. Okay. So what, you pay too much, or is it just not worth it? I don't know. What is the going rate? Or is that just like a big hunk of junk? Looks so cute though. Alright, I gotta see that. Warframe domestic drone images. This guy. That's it? That's what you picked up right there? It does. It almost has like a quasi-Wall-E kind of look about him. Sells it for 100 platinum for memes. Not expecting people to buy it. However, how wrong they were. Completely misguessed their market, right? That's funny. Yeah, you never know, man. Sometimes you're like, okay, this is definitely what they're gonna love, and it's like, no, it's something totally different. All right, so I've tightened all these guys, right? We've gotten rid of all of the sharp edges in theory. So if I hit apply, and let's see what we got now. So let's see if that affects our little brakes now. Now I got one sucking all the crap off my floor of my orbiter. No, look at that. Okay, so that that's disappointing. So I tightened all the sprites, and you see I got 0 benefit from it. So just to give you an idea what's going on here, you can see it does these raycasts, right? So even if I right now I've lowered it to its lowest number, which is 5. Before it was at 8. That's what it defaulted to originally. But even if I increase it, I still think it's gonna hit an edge. So I think it's striking any edge, and then it sort of like draws the line out from that point on. Windows Forms is a UI builder for Windows. Oh, okay. WPF is kind of the same, except that is more modern. Takes advantage of modern hardware and has XME support. Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. So it's a nice little modern UI, but styled up, that can do all kinds of wonderful tricks. That makes sense. That's cool, man. And you're sure it's not using the colliders to raycast against? No, that I'm definitely sure, because the collider, remember I did that trick. I can do it again, although I'm going to take damage here in a second. So I took the collider box, right? So if you can see that now, there. So if you can see, the collider box is now like less than half the size there, right? About 2/3 the size. Okay. Clean, baby, clean. I'm gonna see this. That is one spaceship you could eat off the floor. Look at that. That's great. All right, so here you go. So collider box is now deep inside, right? So let me come out here, come back out, and try and not get damaged, but I will. But yeah, so now you can still see that edge is still coming out way out here, even though the collider box is way inside now. So unfortunately, that's not it. I could try and do some more homework on my own. Just try and maybe even the 2D DL, 2D Lite guy. Maybe I can contact him and try and get some more information. But I've tried going through the available exposed settings to try and see if there's some way to refine that. But unfortunately, no luck. I would love something where I could just kind of go, look, just, feather it, go in tighter, right? I know that you see geometry here, but cut the geometry by 10 degrees, right? If I had that, then I could push that back in and be fine, right? The idea would be some of this would not be casting a shadow, but I'd rather have some of that shadow not be cast, but then still have, not this, It might be using a sprite renderer bounds and using the bounding box of the renderer. Okay. Interesting notion. Let's see. Using high-tech laser technology. Oh, we're talking about your your modified fancy Zumba. Technology developed for millennia that manipulates the magnetic fields in the fabric of space to clean mock up it. Dude, that's funny. Alright, so just out of curiosity, if I turn off the mesh render. Oh, that's on the light itself. Wrong thing. So if I turn off, for example, all these guys. Boom. Alright. No, and so even with the actual sprites knocked out, unless it's the raycasts. I wonder if it's the raycasts that it's... So I'm using a collider box for general contacts and the raycast to check for ground contacts. So now I'm curious. I can't even write it. Well, dude, you may have paid $100 for it, but it sounds like you're definitely getting your money's worth. So that's good news there, man. You gotta do Slim Pickens doing yeehaw. And if you don't know that reference, then you need to stop watching me and go watch Dr. Strangelove. How I learned to stop worrying and how I stopped worrying and learned to love the bomb. Classic Slim Pickens. All right. Let's see. Okay. So maybe it is the raycasts. So, but I don't know how to disable that. Crap. Yeah, because he's doing his thing. And that really does look like it's a raycast that's driving that now. So, let's see. So for the fun of it, if we take... I gotta find this stupid thing again. Yes, this is Corgi's 2D plugin, which is great for doing all the, you know, the raycast test and all that kind of stuff and detecting if you're hanging on walls. But man, it really annoys me sometimes. Let's see, where was that stuff? Play sounds, character jump. Oh, it's probably the one that's collapsed. No. Oh, wait. Yeah. Vertical raycast, horizontal raycast. So if we just drop that to 2 and 2. Oh shoot, that just made him blow up big time. It doesn't do anything but move at 1 kilometer an hour and make a beeping sound. He says monkey. Money's worth. Alright, so... Oh, shoot. Oh, no, wait. Oh. Ow. Crap. And I disabled my God mode, so... Alright. Let's see, so... You jerk. Alright, you know what? Here, we'll do it this way. We'll just, like... make this go away. There. Now I can sit... There you go. Now I can sit there till the cows come home. Good. Right. Oh, but that took out my stupid light, didn't it? Oh, crap. Or did I do that? Oh, there it is. Good. It didn't. Okay, good. So, now let's play with this. Let's come back into player. Oh, come on, dude. Don't minimize my stupid list. Alright. Put the controller. Okay, that's me. Character. That's what I want. Alright. Horizontal raise, vertical raise. We'll drop it to 2 and 2. And it's still doing the extremes, though. The outside. He has a certain member casting the shadow. No, it's coming off of... No, it looks for layers that it's attached to. So if I click on the light, if I can, click on the light. Nope, I can't get the light. Stupid jerk. There it is. Is this that joke went over his head. Oh, what did I miss? Yeah, okay. Enlighten me, man. What did I miss there? What was the reference? All right. So now I've lowered it to 2. Okay, got it. All right. So tell you what, let's do this. Drop the 0.4. See if that helps. No, and it's the raycast. Okay, it's certain autonomy. Okay, anatomy or autonomy? Anatomy. Got it. Okay. Although kind of either one works, right? In theory, I have autonomy. At least I think I do until my wife reminds me that I don't. So I cracked myself up on that one. It's like the comedian once said, you know, I was like, you know, I came out of the closet, I was wearing my outfit, and my wife looks at that, and it might have been Ray Romano. My wife looks at me and says, "Are you wearing that?" And I go, "No, I just wanted to put it on for no reason." I don't think autonomy works. All right. So what I gotta try and do? I think it is coming off the raycast, but if I totally dump the raycasts, right? Yeah, and I can't make any adjustments here. Yeah, I just lose them completely. Oh, but what happens if I drop it to 1? Then I only have the center one, right? That might be interesting. But I'm starting to suspect that it is not the collider box, but in fact is the raycasts that are coming off of that. So we start with this. We drop them down to 0.4 right from the get-go. And maybe the raycasts will follow suit. Yes. Okay, the raycast follows suit. So maybe that's it. That's it. Check it out. That's the difference. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to fix it. Because the raycasts are coming off the collider box. And if I shrink the collider box anymore, then that breaks the character. So unfortunately, I'm afraid I'm going to have to live with it. I mean, this is nice, but now he's sinking through the floor. Yeah, it's catching the. It's the plugin, the Corgi plugin that generates the raycast looks at the size of the collider, right? And then calculates the raycast, but it's no. So the light is actually keying off of the raycast, not the collider box, which is kind of fascinating. But yeah, anyways, let me revert this back. Let's see. So if I just, yeah, I need it to be that size though. Otherwise, it tends to screw up all my other collisions. So I can't really shrink the box down anymore without having collisions not make sense anymore. Even this thing does more than the drone. I can actually pet the doggo thing. Not the drone. Let's see. Wow. I like the fur shader on that. That's actually a character you can get in Warframe. Yeah, I like that, man. That's a really cool fur shader. I mean, I don't mean to get distracted, but yeah. Your only options, I guess, would be to have a layer dedicated shadow rendering colliders or live with it as is. And I think I'm going to go with the latter there because when I introduce a new layer, what I'm concerned about is if the raycasts for the plugin will try and key off of that. I could, oh, you know what? Okay, let's try this. Okay, you know what? Fine. Let's do it this way. We'll say player, and just for an experiment, we'll say... Alright, so player, so he's that layer there, he's default, so player, alright, let me make sure this is actually traveling along with him. Don't go full screen. Alright, so if I come up here, yeah. Alright, he's traveling with it. So, we'll do an experiment. We'll take this one and we'll create a new layer that we will call why am I out of layers here? Am I limited to 31? What's up with that? This on stream. Yeah, no, that's yeah, I'm using every layer. I'm not using it. That's the stupid plugin. But what I can do is recycle some of them that I know I'll not be using, like tunnel. Oh no, actually tunnel I do have to use. That is mine. Platform moving. So if I don't do any moving platforms, I can recycle that. Ladders, I can probably get away with that one. Level bounds I'm using. Invulnerability, platform player only, mid-height one-way I'm not doing a one-way platform, so I'm going to recycle this one. And I'll say player shadow. Okay, so we'll try that, and we'll come back to this guy, and we'll drop him to, where did it go? player shadow. No, this object only. Alright. So then, now that we have that, let's come back into that scene. And let's go prefab, levels. That was underground 1. So this guy, good. Sorting layer, okay, that's good. Now we gotta look for the actual layers that interacts with. Here we go. So no player, but where is player shadow? Okay. So we got that, and we'll come back here, and then we will say the player flipper. I'm not even sure how that works though, because I don't have a collider box. All right, let me think of that for a sec. Actually, I'm gonna duck out for a quick restroom break. It is short. Let's see. All right, give me a sec on that. All right, I gotta get past the commercial anyways. All right, quick restroom break, and I'll get this resolved. So hang tight for a second, guys. I'll be right back. Yeah, that's it. We're done. Go away. Wait. I'll do my Ferris Bueller. Wait. You're still here? The stream is over. Go home. Go. And if you don't know what that is, you really need to put Ferris Bueller's Day Off in your movie library watch list. John Hughes, the total legend of my era, that made all those films that spoke to me personally. Bye. Adios. All right, so I got your little video here. Oh, you got the whole cinematic trailer? 6 minutes? That's not short, dude. That's like, okay, fine. I'll put it like in the corner or something here. And because I'm like showing, you know, copyright content, I'm sure I'll get like a blocked video stream now. Because I'm stealing or something. Yeah. Oh, that doesn't look... Oh, not good for her. Oh, she's still there. Nice. Wait, you didn't tell me that Lara Croft was in here. So many showed it, yeah. I mean, you think there'd be no problem because, I mean, this is literally a commercial for the game, right? I mean, you know, it's advertising for the game. Nice. Yeah. So I've worked on a few video game cinematics over the years, but I always love the fact that, you know, well, I mean, it's getting less so, But back in the day, you'd always have this beautiful demo, and then somewhere hidden in the bottom it'd say does not represent actual gameplay. You know, and you see the game and it's just like nothing in comparison. But yeah, I mean, the way the consoles are getting now, I mean, it's getting much, much closer. So Warframe, I mean, is it what's the gameplay? I mean, is it PvP or is it battle royale or I mean, is it like co-op? What are the you know, what are the general approaches? Nice. And it plays just like that, right? Oh, nice. Where are we at? Alright, 2.5 minutes in. I'll pause it there. I'll come back to it. But yeah, that looks cool, man. Switch over here. Oh, there we go. Let's do another bombing raid. There you go. Okay. So where were we? Oh yeah, we're gonna like try and come up with this secondary layer. So so right now there's only this game object. There's no collider on there. So in theory, I'm probably not gonna get any shadow at all. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so that's a good start. The game almost looks as good as that in the actual game. I believe it, you know, and that's so cool that we're getting to the point where you go, wait, is this pre-rendered or is this actual gameplay footage? And, you know, the fact that you really can't tell nowadays is just a testament to how far we've come. All right, so what I got to do is create a collider box for him. And position him. I can just like make it small, put it in the center there, and also make sure that my physics are, well, I guess he's inside. I was gonna say I have to turn on the physics off for him, but I guess I can worry about that later. Alright, so let's see if this does anything now. If we get like a small beam. Whoa. Nope, okay. I can't even jump right now. Okay, I do have to turn off his physics on everything. Where is he? Really? Okay, that's interesting. Player shadow, nothing turned on there. Player shadows, nothing turned on there. Oh, that's really freaky. So I don't know if that stupid Corgi plugin is sort of like seeing this other thing and it doesn't like it. So if I turn it off, now I can jump, right? But if I turn it on, it totally breaks it. Oh, that just really sucks, man. That just really kind of pisses me off. Okay, let's go the other direction then. Let's just put it somewhere further down. Player. Oh, we'll try it as a trigger. Maybe I'd be happy with that. Maybe that's the culprit. Let's see. Nope, that just completely disables it. That's just really annoying as hell. Alright, so remove component. Why do I have an audio source on there? Huh, I guess I was using that to play the sounds. Okay, so let's just go ahead and create an empty down here, like so. Put him in the middle, right? And then this guy, we're going to revert back to default, this object only, and this guy will switch back to, where did he go? Player shadow. Alright, and then box collider. I'm hoping that by putting it underneath as a child, it doesn't affect it, but I'm not optimistic. Yeah, that's just crap, man. Oh god, that plugin really is kind of pissed me off now. So yeah, so there really isn't a simple way to do this, because as soon as I introduce a secondary collider box anywhere on it, then the plugin decides to break. The Corgi plugin decides to just shut down. So my choice is to either have him not move or have a collider box that is undersized and causes other issues, or just accept the fact that I'm going to have the stupid light. God, really? Unless there's some other way that... Okay, let's just try this as a separate object parented to it. How about that? So I'll take that off. So say player. Create empty. Put up here for a second. Zero that. I didn't mean to zero that totally out. Put them like right there in the center. Okay. And we'll say so now it's a fully separate object. So there's no reason for the stupid Corgi plugin to get pissy about it. Since I can't actually parent it. Or can I? Maybe if I put it down here as a separate thing. Alright, I'm going to try this one last time, and otherwise I'll just create a script that has it constrained on the fly. Alright. And we'll make that player shadow. Make it a trigger. What the heck, why not? Really? Oh god, that plugin is really annoying the hell out of me. So then if I drop it over here, what? Alright, now I'm totally confused. Alright, he has nothing attached there. So then what? I broke it now? Why does it care if I have a separate object? I guess because I parented it and then dropped it back out. So if I just come in here to anyone here and just kind of go game object, create empty, and let's just try it by script then. Why have another one there? Put it right in the center. Move them up here to the top. Like so. Okay. Player shadow object, and we'll make him player shadow, and it should not have any interactions because I've literally disabled all player shadow interactions for physics. Player shadow, everything is literally turned off, right? So it has nothing to collide with. So let's come back and go 2D. Good. Really? So just even that object being there. Really? How can it collide? How can it collide when I have player? It's a different layer, and there should be no interactivity there. Unless there's something in the stupid script by defaults to being on. Platforms player only. Okay, that's platform mask. Detach method. Oh, because I had that. Okay, that's why. Because I recycled that one layer, and it was assigned to mid-height one way, even though I wasn't using that crap. Okay, now I got that. So now, in theory, I could drag this bad boy back onto him. So that was it, because it did actually do a search. Even though all my physics are turned off, it was still doing a custom search with the Corgi plugin, even though I wasn't using it. So in that case, you know what? I could just come back and try this again now that I've got that turned off. So take this bad boy, player shadow, this object only, and box collider, Put them up here. There. Now we should have no issues with jumping. Yes. There we go. Okay, now. Sweet. There it is. Check it out. I now have a controllable shadow that is only the parts that I want. So now if I take this guy and scale him up. 6 and 6 like so. Check it out. There it is. Ooh, snapping like crazy though, isn't it? Ooh. Alright, why is this snapping? I guess because of the rays, but that's strange that it didn't do it for him, but it does it for the other. So maybe because I changed it mid-game? Let's try it. Alright. Bingo, that was it. It was because I changed the settings while the game was actually physically playing. There you go. So you see in the animation when he's moving around, you can see that little bit, so I can come at that a couple of different ways. I could shrink the box down a little bit, but that's actually much, much better. So I think what I do is just the X. I'm going to contract that a little bit. So let's say X 1.5. Kind of squish that down and see if that makes it look pretty. Yeah. There you go. Check it out. Fixed and fixed. Yeah. Every now and then there's a certain jump when the Tribble gets really, really narrow in the animation. If I want to get really I can't change it, because if you change it dynamically, then the light isn't really set to deal with that. So that would actually kind of make that, you get that stutter step look, you know, how it's like popping and stuff like that. But I think this is much better. So yeah, it's inside the Tribble, right? I mean, technically the edges aren't casting as much as they used to, but the trade-off is that it's now not going beyond it. So I think that's much better. Probably cheat that a little bit more, but yeah, I think that's a big improvement. What do you guys think? So 1.75, and I'll leave that at 2. I think I'll leave that at 2. But yeah, that was another caveat with using the Corgi plugin, is that it just absolutely absorbs like all the layers, right? But yeah, there you go. I'm pretty content with that. Yeah. Pushed. Okay, cool. That is fixed and good. Okay, so let's see. I guess one of the things I also want to start toying with was right now I'm surprised you did make the map randomly generated. No, but it's not though. Did you mean that I didn't? Yeah. I toyed with it, because I was, some of the inspiration was Spelunky, right, and Downwell, right, which both of those are procedurally generated on the fly. But the catch with those is the fact that if you look at Spelunky, if you look at Downwell, right, the two things that frequently happen is they put you in a layout that's physically impossible to get past. You have to destroy stuff, right, using your tools to progress through the level, right? And then if you run out of your tools, then guess what? Game over. You've lost, right? A Tribble doesn't have like tools. So, the idea of trying to create a level that would always be solvable, right? Combined with also the thing is, I love making these platforms that you have to get the jump right, right? to me this is fun, where you have to, like, if a lot of people that are playing it would like, like bounce off of here, right, and then like not make it or something like that, right? So I like customized levels that, there's precision in the jumps, right? So the downside is that, yeah, it's limited, but my goal is to have enough levels, and also the fact that these levels are modular, by the way, right? I don't know if you got that, but each one of these is a separate individual section, and I double click and it doesn't. There you go. So like this, right, with a fixed entrance and a fixed exit, right? So any one of these that, once I get it set up correctly, I'll be able to flop them, right? So that'll have some variance to it, and also the fact that I can load them on the fly. So every time you play the game, the ideal approach would be that I have two versions, maybe three versions of each one of these sections, right? That, if it's earlier on in the game, that I soften it, right? So it's not as punishing. And if it's later in the game, then I turn out all the stops and it's much harder, right? So the fact that the order will change every time you play a game, combined with just because you get used to the layout, doesn't mean that it's going to play the same way when you come back again. Hopefully makes for a challenging experience every time. You could do it a bit like Warframe. It used the generation where it was fairly large areas that are pre-made, but then are randomly placed, and all the game really has to do is piece so that all the main corridors link up. Well, that's kind of what I'm doing, right? I'm by my own choice, I've limited myself to this tile set in terms of this height, right, and this width. But because these are modular, right, and if you come up here, zoom out. So here's 2, here's if I can select it, 3, right? So each one of these has a distinctive kind of look, and each one of these gets like connected. Ultimately they'll get connected randomly, so you will not get the same order of layers every time you play, anytime you play. Okay, you kind of misread some of that. Yeah, okay, well, no, I get what you're saying. You're saying that I could have, like, quadrants, right? Pre-made quadrants that kind of connect into a whole, right? So it's almost like if this were divided, kind of, Spelunky does this, right? Where it divides the world into, I think theirs is more like 8x8 quadrants, right? And each one has a little section, and they all have to sort of like line up to each other and connect correctly. I think that's what you're saying. Correct me if I'm wrong, if that's not the gist of it. But yeah, possible approach as well. But then I got to make sure that every quadrant that I develop works perfectly with every other quadrant, and they all kind of connect and make it a viable kind of thing. It's, yeah, I mean, it was a tough decision, but, and there's no reason that I can't kind of take that mindset if there's sections that do work well, right, and repurpose them, and into other layers as well. But yeah, I get what you're saying, and it was a decision just because I was concerned about the amount of time it would take to properly, because once again, I'm an artist, I'm not a programmer. So the idea of trying to get something that could procedurally generate itself on the fly and still always be viable and beatable, I have already come up with a way to make that doable for your game. But if you don't want to do it, fine. Well, okay, I mean, well, clarify it better then. So it uses fairly large areas that are pre-made, but then are randomly placed, and all the game really has to do is place so that all the main corridors link up, right? So, I mean, are you suggesting that I should change the entire game scale size? Or are you trying to say that I should make little subsections that, let me type this out for a second. Okay. You type. All right. Because I do, at this point, if you can kind of see the pixel count here, I can't remember the exact number. I think I'm like 14 by 22. If I turn this off, go remove component. There you go. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Okay, it's 28. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 14 by 28. So I was close. So yeah, so I work off a grid count that's 14 by 28. So I'd have to create cells, right? These little regional cells that could play well on their own, but then also reconnect up and still fit in a 14 by 28 grid space. Unless you're suggesting that I should go beyond that and add more. So not quite sure. But yeah. Type out your thought. Let me know. See if I'm following that correctly. So the bummer news is my artist Daniel is taking himself a little vacation time, and so unfortunately I'm not going to get any new art for him until probably sometime in next month. So that's going to be still days, maybe a couple of weeks away. But really looking forward to getting his content for the next 3 worlds, of course. Starting with the sand, the canyon environment with the sandworm and all that kind of stuff. Be right back. All right, man. I'll be here. So that's gonna be really exciting. Especially looking forward to the alien gorilla guy. I think that's gonna be a fun one to animate. The Glamour's been fun, but kind of limited in terms of his his size and his detail. So there's so much I can do with him. I didn't come up with the character. That was originated on the animated Star Trek show, so I got to be faithful to it. Excuse me. So it makes it a bit of a challenge. If you look at the animated show, when he runs, especially if he runs fast, the legs just pinwheel. Which, I mean, I guess in a goofy TV show, animated show, I guess it was okay, but I just that doesn't really work well for me in terms of animation. But okay, so let's see. Oh yeah, so what I was gonna work on was the next thing I want to start incorporating, which I hadn't done yet, is the secret areas. Right now, all they do is they reveal kind of just another hidden piece of brain. I mean, food. I want to change that, right? I want to start introducing hidden areas that take you into separate rooms, right? And then I was thinking about that, and it was banging my head against the wall because I was thinking about if you go into a different room that offers bonuses or market that allow you to cash in for some of the stuff you collected. When you come back, obviously you're going to automatically drop down and then boom, hit that, which is just terrible. So I had the idea of having like a little area platform that will pop up once you return. So that's what I started playing with. So for example, let's see, I think I have it in here. So if we, cover. Boom. Oops, not cover, but post cave is what I called it. So there you go. So the gist of this would be, so you come in here, right, and you collect it. You would go into the secondary cave area. When you come back out, you come out and you just automatically drop there, right? So that would pop in when you return, save your hide, and then you could just jump out from there. So I thought that would be kind of a clever solution to all of the come over here to another one of those hidden areas. Not all of them will have that, but I gotta make sure boom, that it returns you in a situation where it doesn't return you and you automatically take hit and damage right when you come back, because as a gamer I would hate that. So here's one, for example. Come here, buddy. Boom. There. So reveal that one. Yeah, so like this is one I definitely have to come up with something too, because you got that, so if you went into a little hidden area there and you pop back and you immediately land right on the lava, that's a non-starter. So that'd be another one we'd have to make a little platform that comes out and just catches you above the lava. And you're still responsible for getting past that, of course, but that I'm going to do the same thing, I think. Which is level what? Not him. 3, 4. Yeah, so this is one. Actually, I can play with this one since I got him loaded. Let's expand the grid. Breakable blocks. Let's see. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Cover. turn off cover. There we go. So, what did I say that was? Was it post cave? Post cave. I just want to be consistent in my naming here. Yeah. And let's see, cover. I'll just duplicate cover. Call this post cave. Turn him on. Just make sure we're actually on post cave. All right. Start cleaning this crap up. Oops. All right. Erase the current one. There you go. Like so. All right. And then probably, let's see, make that go away. That's everybody? Yeah. All right. And then what I'll do here is probably something like this. Yep, just a simple little platform you to land on. Like so. So when you go in there, you'd hit the little power up take in the other room. When you come back, boom, you just drop on there and you're nice and safe. And hopefully you can still get by. Let me try that real quick. Section 4. This is way, oh, this is way deep, isn't it? Alright, I'm going to change it up so I can get to it quick. Okay. Let's go to, where's my game controller? There he is. So we will temporarily switch that out for 4, which hopefully plays well. No, I don't think it will. I'm gonna have to make a hole, don't I? Yep, I have to make a hole. Gotta carve out a space so I can actually get into this stupid thing. Oops, almost jumped into that lava. I really gotta turn the God mode feature back on so I can not worry about this stuff. Alright. Boom. And yeah, I can get by there. Oh, it's a little, yeah, it's a little close in there. Alright, so how about if I do it this way? I can 4, kind of round off this edge here, like so. Alright, so he gets it, he goes into the other world, comes back, drops, and he can come down to here with no problem, and he can clear no problem. There you go. So what I'm also thinking about doing too is introducing a lot more of gems that you can find in crack spots, crack spaces that will like have gems pop out, because I haven't introduced the gems yet, but the gems will be what you use to go into the other world and buy power-ups and that kind of stuff. Right now I just have the food, and I don't want to just have gems just spread all over the place because it's just kind of too easy. So I figure if I do something like a breakable block, and you hit it and then it spits out a couple of gems, it kind of reverts to a regular block. So it'll just give you something else to look out for, right? When you hit it, it'll toss out more for you. So that's what I was thinking. We'll see if I implement that, if it actually plays pretty well. But it'd be kind of cool to have like one here, right? You know, and then it would kick out 1 or 2. I mean, traditionally a breakable block like leaves a gap, but in this case I would just have it revert into a different kind of block, so that way I don't have to worry about making a hole or anything like that. So, alright. Alright. I think that'll work well. Okay. So let me clean that back up, because I don't have it actually dialed in yet, but it's nice to know that that's going to work pretty well. So I turn that off, turn cover back on, like so. Cool. Alright, so it's a simple, elegant solution, I think. So when you go into the hidden room and you come back out, you land on the platform, so you're still good. I mean, that'll be something I have to factor in as well, that I gotta make sure that the number of hidden rooms that comes up is enough, but not too much. So I have to come up with the math on that one, I think, as well. So 5. There you go. Here's our other hidden guy. So we'll take cover. Turn him off. Alright. Okay, and post cave. Turn him on. He's gonna be all over the place. Let's see. Why am I not seeing bounding box here? That's interesting. Huh. Okay. Okay. On. Oh, because I didn't have it selected, I think. That's. We good now? Nope. Still doesn't want to show the bounding box. I'm not sure why that's the case. Alright, is that everybody? Yep, okay, good. Okay, whatever. So, do the same thing here. That's weird. Alright, so come out here. Come out this way. This one I could just totally cover. Then what I have to do is also make sure when the player comes back out that he's high enough up that he can land on there and not get trapped. Of course. Kind of regretting not having one thickness, but that was an early choice I made and I stuck with it. I think on the following world areas that I'll have like a 1 thickness. But I just thought for the caves, I was kind of concerned that if it was just like 1 tile thick, it would look kind of brittle, frail. Kind of combine those together. Let's go for brittle. Let's go for frail, and it said braille. Yeah. I'm out of practice, guys. I take 2 weeks off of Comic-Con goodness, and I'm just completely off my game. Oh shoot. Let me try that back up. Let's see. This guy. Okay. Yeah, I'll leave that. Let me just go ahead and test it. Game controller. 4. Let's go back to 1. 6 is the next one. So, be able to test that right away. Okay. Yeah, I like that. The casting edges. There's still a little bit of that. You can still see, in certain animated positions, you can kind of see an edge, but it's still much cleaner than it used to be. So that's vastly improved. So that was worth the effort, I think. Squished. I thought 6 was second. Here it goes. All right. Ugh. Die. Okay, here we go. Oh. Uh-oh. Okay, so I'm not colliding with that. I gotta figure out what's wrong there, but the position was okay. So. Oh, crap. Yeah. Oh, because I didn't. There it is. Because I need that on platform. That's why it's sliding right through it. I should actually have cover set to platform as well. It never really gets reached, but let me just put that back on. Alright. Yeah. And we'll take one more stab at that. Actually, before I do that, come out of there, hit Control S. Do not want to lose any work. I hate redoing the same thing I've done before, so. Done. Ooh, got him on the upswing. Somebody pointed that out, and actually I kind of like that feature. I mean, the alternative is taking damage while you're jumping up, and I'd rather have that. If you're high enough, then I think that should be a squish, period. Ah, it's still not registering. Why is it sliding through that? What the heck? That's so confusing. Platforms, cover. Oh, it helps when you actually put a collider on it. I didn't do it for cover. There's no reason for cover to have a collider on it, but he does not. Yeah, that helps. And what is it? Used by factor? No, not that one. There. Nope, collider. There it is. Cool. All right, try this one more time. That's why I wasn't seeing it, because he didn't have a collider. I wonder if I should do that. Not a terrible idea. I might just throw one on this cover. Deposit collider. There we go. Use. There it is. All right. Save that as well. Come back out. Save. And let's try this. Ah, forget him. As my old boss used to say, I got bigger fish to fry. Okay. Getting closer. Whoa. Yeah. Whoops. I forgot something. Can you tell? The fact they're floating around. Whoops. Alright. Post cave. That needs to be static. Oh, that was amusing. And then static as well. I'm back. How did that shadow experiment work out? Oh, great. It actually did work out. Check it out. So, I don't know if you were around to see what the cause was, but the reason I was not able to jump was because the plugin was actually referencing that layer that I recycled, right? But now if you check it out, so you see how it's super tight now, right? And I'm able to control that. It's a little underneath in terms of like cutting through the edges of him, but I prefer that rather than reaching out too far. Even with this though, there's certain poses, right? Every now and then there's a certain animation that you can just start to see the box kind of protrude again, right? When he's doing like some of these extreme long animations, right? When he gets extended outward. But to me, this is actually working much better, much cleaner. I could do something where I kind of like can dynamically change the box as he's jumping, but then these lights aren't calculated, they're pre-calculated. So if I did that, it would be a big performance hit, or it would like suddenly do that staccato kind of thing. Awesome. Does it only work with box colliders, or could you use a circle collider? Might fit the shape better. Yeah, I guess I could try it. Why not? Let's see. I don't think it'd be limited. Let's find out. Tell you what, I'll leave him there so I can come back to him. But I'll say, oh, I don't have a 2D sphere, do I? That might be a deal breaker. I could do a capsule, maybe a circle. There it is, circle collider. There. Okay, yeah. Put him right there. Radius about yay-ish. Yeah, let's see. Should work. Ooh. See that stepping? There's that stepping. Yeah, it doesn't like spheres. See that? It's going in like the quadrants. So the sphere apparently just makes it very unhappy. So for example, if I turn the circle off, turn the box collider back on, it may be something to do with the calculations. It turns the circle into a certain amount of edges instead. Yeah, you could be right. But see, like here, so now we're back to the box, and you see how it's just fluid, right? But yeah, and there's just like this one spot right here, right? When he's dipping down, you can just see that edge kind of creep out. But you know what? That's so much better than it was before. That's one of the things that you got to really be looking specifically to find that edge. You know, I mean, considering before where he'd just be hanging, right? And you could just see the, you know, that edge sticking out over the sides. So yeah, I think that's much better improvement. Yeah, that's a good guess. That might be the case, where it just takes the circle and samples it back into a square. But you know, but I mean, so the way the light works too. Oh, I lost. Forgot. I can't backtrack. Let me come out of Max. Come back in here. There you go. So yeah, so we have like the quadrants, right? You know, we have these little radiant sections, which I can increase, but that's still going to have that pop. So yeah, unfortunately, there's not a benefit to switching out from the box to the circle, unfortunately. It's a good idea, though. I do appreciate that. And off he goes. All right. So then what I was working on was the idea that I don't have it turned on here, but I guess I could leave it on. Let me do that. And then I'm eventually going to have it where it gets switched off initially, but it comes on dynamically when it's needed. And that, of course, is post cave. Ooh, but he is underneath. Let me adjust that. Make him 14. There. So I'm not sure if you were around when I was talking about this. So right now I just have like the little food. It looks a lot like brains. Yeah, I know. Sitting there, right? But I want that to be like a hidden room kind of thing, right? So the idea would be that you can go there into that room, right? And then when you come back, you're going to free fall, but you're going to land on there, so you don't have to worry about it. You just know that you can land safely because that little platform pops up when you return. All right. You should pre-make subsections. Each has an exit at the top and an entry at the bottom to allow the character to move in and out of the section to get away from the lava. Then for each segment, you would have to make 3 variants. In each variant, the entry would be in a different place, right, middle, left. You would then add a empty game object in the entrance of the variants. These will too big. Let me get where it cut off. Gotcha. All right. Oh, I tried to hit your link there, and I got a. Oh, maybe because I didn't like the PNG. There it is. All right, it had a little parenthesis in the period in there that these will be used to let other segment know they can fit into the larger segment without making a dead end, a bit like this. Yeah, again with the little parenthesis in the period there. Gotcha. Okay. My great artwork. No, it $1 million. I'll owe you. But no, it conveys exactly what you're talking about. I get the sense of that for sure. Yeah. So you start either here, 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 and then it would line up. Yeah. So I mean, were you around when I was talking about the fact that my entire grid space is basically 28 by 14, right? Tiles, right? And right now, at least in the underground environment, the tiles have to be too thick. So that's really almost like saying that I can only build in a 14 by 7 and esque kind of platform, give or take. So it would be really tight, I think. Unless you were suggesting that I should just forget my current layout and just expand it and make it larger, right? With like roaming left and right. I'm not sure if that's what you're thinking there, but yeah. I mean, I like it. I like the idea. I mean, even here, I mean, I kind of have that, right? I could just take these individual sections, like you're describing, if I could get my game to work. There it is, right? So I could do something where I have like, this is, I mean, because this is one divided section here, right? I mean, it cuts off here, right? So I have like this as being a playable section and this being a playable section. I don't see how the size really breaks the tiling generation system. Well, it does for left and right because I don't pan left and right. In terms of vertical, it doesn't. But it just in terms of left and right, I am kind of the claustrophobic, I guess, is the best term. But no, I get what you're saying. So like you don't need left and right. Okay. Yeah, so this could be an example like you're saying right here, right? Right. Let me get this paused. Right. So, yeah, so I mean this would be like almost like if this is over one more. This would be, section 1 here in the middle, and this would be section 1 on the right, and this would be section 3 on the left. Walking talking. What up, buddy? How was the con? Only good since it's called a con. Yeah, it was great, man. I was doing a little show and tell earlier. I might still have it up. I don't know if you actually saw the picture of the booth, but yeah. So I think you were actually there for the stream that I did, but looking back on it, I realized how pixelated it was. So I guess trying to do live stream Twitch on a phone is not conducive to high quality video. Yeah. So it was probably a lot more pixelated, but yeah, this was the layout. So I had the 3 screens, and I also had 2 tablets on either side to let people sign up for the newsletter, which I did. I had 62 people sign up, which is like, for me, that's fantastic. That's a lot more than I normally have. And then you can see I have a little screen at the top here that just as a complete indulgence, just plays my demo reel. So you see all my animation stuff. So people kind of, hopefully it is a draw. People see something that's like, oh, I love that show. What is this all about? And they walk up. 62. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe for some people that's really crappy. For me, that's actually pretty good. People seem reluctant. He usually gets 0. Not too far off the mark. That's insane. Online 62 seems like a small number, but in real life, that's insane. Yeah, I mean, the people that walked up, I was an insane amount of numbers of people that actually did come up. Sorry to repeat for those that were here earlier, but I gave out these little stickers for anyone that tried out the game. I went in with 1,000 and I left home with less than 100. So that gives you an idea how many people actually tried out the game. So, I mean, that was fantastic. It was really good, really exhausting. It's just that will wear you out like crazy because you're pitching the game, and the first time you do it and the last time you do it has to be the same level of enthusiasm because each person is seeing the game for the first time, right? So you have to make sure that you kind of convey that same sense of, dude, you want to check this out kind of thing. But it does get tiring. That's really good to hear. Thanks, man. Yeah, it really turned out nice. So what we're playing with right now was I fixed a couple of bugs that did get pointed out to me during the show. One was a collision issue. Somebody was pointing out that he thought that the collider on the Glommer was overly indulgent, but I was actually okay with that, so I'm gonna leave that be. Except for the fact that you get less stickers to play with, I guess. Yeah, well, I mean, I think I paid $35 for 1,000, so that was absolutely worth it, right? I mean, that's what you move it over, what, 3 times, so it was like 3 cents a sticker or something like that. So yeah, absolutely worth it. Let's see. Where's that? No, is that 0.3 cents? Did I move the decimal place incorrectly, or was that 3 cents? No, I think it's 3 cents. Anyways, no, it is 0.3. Okay, I'm getting tired. So Nerdit was suggesting that I consider doing more of a modular fashion, right? So let's see. I still think I have your reference here. Where did it go? Did I close it? Didn't think I did, but maybe I did. Revisit it here. There you go. So he's talking about coming up with like multiple segments, and then sort of using those like so. So just letting the segments kind of get added together on the fly, which I'm kind of doing that already. Tied 7-Up in a normal glass. There you go, man. Good call. Uh-oh. I'm developing a drinking problem. So yeah, so it's an interesting concept. So right now, what I have is just like each one of these is modular, and it repeats above. But he's talking about splitting them into thirds, right? It's an interesting idea. It is an interesting idea, and I'm going to toy with that. I'm going to think about that. There's pros and cons, right? I mean, the pro is the fact that it becomes much more granular, right? Each room becomes much more of a mystery. Now the downside is that some of the rooms that I have currently, like this segment, right? This would be one that I couldn't do necessarily in the thirds because we have like this bottom section, right? So then I'd have to make sure that it all lined up properly, because I mean here, this in essence it has like 2 different connections from the left to the middle third of the game. So then I have to do a different check and make sure that there's like always the proper connecting points, that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's an interesting idea. I guess I'll have to think about it, because it'll be a situation where if I can't make enough original levels, right, like this, if I start getting burned out, then it may be a consideration. If we go back and look, also one of the things, oops, not that, let me come back here. There we go. So if we come back here and we look at, excuse me, so this would be the second world, right? This is when you climb out of the underground. My fan is freaking out, so let me stop the gameplay there. So you work your way up into the canyon, right? So this may be something where I start spacing it out more. This may be because depending on how this plays out when I start developing these levels, it may be one of the things that you just facing the worm could be enough of a challenge. So this could be something where it could work in that more modular fashion as well. Here, this might also work. When we start getting them in the jungle, this might start getting more like Downwell, right? Where it's just more of the platforms, because it'll be tougher to come up with levels because you're going to have this little monkey guy that can constantly jump and follow you, right? As well as occasional traps. So this might be a situation where it does start becoming much more of a modular thing, where the random level platforms just get dropped in, right? Did you draw no, I did not. I would love to take credit for it, but no, it is done by an incredibly talented guy named Daniel, who's been doing all the 2D art for me. whenever I get enough freelance work and I get enough money in the bank, I turn right back to Daniel and say, hey, dude, make my game look beautiful. And he does, man. That's all Daniel right there. You know. So, and then also when we get up to this one, so once we get back into the spaceship, this is the final area, right? And then this is, you know, you start on the spaceship, you get beamed down to the center of the planet, you climb up and you get back on the spaceship. This may be a situation where, kind of like the first world, the underground, where I might have to go back to customize puzzles just that work well, you know, in the full set. But Nerd It, you know, I think you might be onto something, at least definitely for this, right? When we're up in the jungle, this is definitely going to be just pieces that this is going to be much more of a like frantic climbing, right? You can try and stay ahead of the monkeys, right? And maybe like not take them out, you know, just collect stuff if you want, or just try and frantically bounce your way up and dodge all of the objects that are going to be coming out to try and take you out, right? And then the sandworm, you know, here in the canyon, I don't know until I actually start getting the art from Daniel and I start actually plugging it in to find out if I can do something in a more modular fashion, or if I'm gonna have to do actual layer designs for each section. But that'll be kind of a test. But yeah, I think it's a great idea. I mean, obviously the idea of the more random it is every time you play the game, the more enjoyable it can be. But I think that idea might work better for these second worlds, right? And maybe not as much for the first and the last, but we'll see. We'll give it time. You know, if, as I said, if I get burned out and I realize that I cannot make enough levels to make it viable, then I will probably have to do that. I will have to do some adjustment and work in that more modular fashion. But yeah, it's at 5:30, so I'll keep going a little while longer. Let me check this real quick. All right. Oh, let me do this. Here we go. Quick bombing run. Let's get everyone airborne. There you go. Lots of bombs this time. Let's see. Cool. He has done a great job. I totally agree, man. He is absolutely worth every dime. When I Google Volley Village, only your stuff comes up. I love that. Well, that's one of the perks of coming up with a really random name, is that it's a lot easier to own it. I think when you are top results on Google, you've made it. Yeah, same for Scary Robot too. If you go, there's a little bit of a mix. Let's see if I go. Oh, that's interesting. Shows a bunch of pictures. But so if you come down, so yeah, the first thing that comes up is 13 creepy Boston Dynamics robots. But the second link is actually my webpage. So yeah, there you go. Lucky me. So I've been very fortunate with that, which is funny because I get people like, you know, the obligatory, you know, hey, use our service and we'll improve your search engine optimization and we'll get you at the top of the page. I want to just like take a screen grab and send it back to him and kind of go, dude, how higher can you go besides number one? You know? Thanks. I think I'm good. Appreciate it. Call me back when I start plummeting off the list, right? You know. All right, let me repair the damage that I did over here. Come on. All right. Fill this hole back. Whoa. Oh, I'm on the wrong thing. There it goes. All right, freak me out there for a second. One more like that, and then, oops, not breakable, but that guy. There you go. So you guys saw the news that Rutger Hauer passed away. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. And people have already pointed out the fact that the original Blade Runner took place in 2019. So it's interesting kind of symmetry there. But yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. I always liked the guy. I thought he was really fun, and pretty much, even he made some really bad movies, but even the bad movies, he was always a fun character to watch. All right, and did I leave that in? Let's check this real quick. so. So anyone that's just coming along for the first time, that's just kind of checking this out, so I'll give you the quick rundown. This is actually Tribbles, and I cannot squish it. There he goes. Tribbles from the classic Star Trek TV series. And interesting note too, that was kind of a fun thing too. I was really surprised that the amount of people that were not aware of Tribbles. Obviously that tended to skew younger. The younger someone was, the less chance they were aware of what a Tribble was all about. But you know, the older crowd, of course, you know, I would have to sort of adjust my statement and say, you know, so this is the world's first video game based on Tribbles from the classic Star Trek series. Some people kind of go, oh, okay, you know, whatever. And then others would look at you and nod like, dude, seriously? I know, man. I know my Tribbles, you know. So it would be an interesting kind of cross section. But let me see if I can find a USB plug here. Oh, give me one sec. So I'm gonna plug in the phone and see if I can show you a couple pictures. Since pretty much accomplished a few of the things I wanted to accomplish while I was doing the stream today. But let's see if I can get the phone active here. All right. Get this up and set. Oops, wrong thing. There it goes. All right. So let me see what I can find. Let's go. Whoops. DCIM. All right. Camera. All right, gotta be selective because I have super secret, you know, CIA information. No, I'm kidding. I got nothing. All the super secret stuff has been offloaded elsewhere. 1906, so that would be old. Let me see what I can pop up here after it finishes loading. Okay, here we go. Let's go. Start from the bottom and work my way back. Let's see. 7/24, that was actually just 2 days ago, so that's not right. 21? Well, was Comic-Con? 21, that was Sunday. Alright. So, let's see what kind of interesting stuff I can dig up. Yeah, there you go. Right off the bat. How's that for cool? That is a picture of a gentleman in full Klingon attire playing Tribble Troubles. So, there you go. That was great. I was thrilled to take that picture. That was pretty cool. Let me see if I can go view medium icon. Oops. Nope. Okay. I can't do it that way. View details. So let's see. I think I took a picture of those at the same time. Yeah. So I have to skip some of these. Yeah. I took a few. That was too cool. I couldn't pass that up. Maybe I should move this over here in case I show anything that I shouldn't be showing. Let's see. Can't open that file. Uh-oh, that's bad. Whoa. Okay, now I can't. Suddenly I can't actually even open my photos on my phone. There you go. Oh, check this out. This was actually a great score for me. So this is a very famous cartoonist that illustrates for Mad Magazine. Right, so I don't know if any of you guys are aware. But give you a quick sampling. Find something here that's... Let's see. Yeah, here's a good example. So this is Sergio. So he's been working at Mad Magazine since before most of us have been born, right? He has this classic style that is just all him, right? You just see it and you just instantly recognize it. So yeah, he just ended up strolling by my neighbor's booth, and so I had to run over and grab a photo with him because that is a true cartoonist legend right there. So let's see, I got that one. Let's see, what else we got? Got some kids playing it. What else we got? Yep. I realized like the last day I hadn't really taken any pictures of anyone actually playing the game, so I had to like try and grab a couple, but nope, don't want to display. Alright, my phone is misbehaving. Look at this, I can't load anything on my phone. I hope the photos are okay. There you go. Oh, this was kind of cool. So this is like a woodblock print, but it's actually Mario Kart, right? Someone had this. I thought that was such a cool picture. Check it out. So you got Mario and the turtles, right, duking it out, the mushroom. So anyone that knows anything about woodblock prints and knows anything about Mario, probably get a big chuckle out of that. All right. Let me see. Is there any way to go faster? Not really. So let me just. Oh yeah, Daredevil. I thought that was pretty cool. Oh, funny story about this guy. So my wife was like, she really enjoyed the Daredevil show, so I had to get a picture for her, right? So I take his picture, and then he walks up afterwards, and he goes, "Let me give you my card," right? Which a lot of these cosplayers do that now, right? A lot of them, when you take your picture with them, they immediately say, you know, please, you know, like, you know, hashtag me, you know, all that kind of stuff, so they can get more exposure. So he gave me a card, and it was the card said Nelson and Murdoch, attorneys at law, right? It's like that was a great touch, man. That was cool. That cracked me up. Let's see. Okay. And let me keep digging here. Yep, I took a bunch of pictures of him. And wow, don't know why my phone is misbehaving today. Let's see if I can find anything else here. Alright, I'm just going to try it this way. I'm just going to grab a whole bunch of these and drag them into a folder. And we'll go that route. Alright, so sorry guys. So well prepared, can't you tell? 17. Okay, so I think that would be the first day, wouldn't it? Yeah, Wednesday. Alright. View large icons. There we goes. Okay. There you go. So I talked about this earlier. So there you go. So my key thing, since I was doing this all by myself this year, was to make sure that I could make my trip in one trip. So this is my entire booth, right? All this was loaded in the car, right? Set up on the dolly. All this goes onto the dolly in one fell swoop, and then just spin forever setting it up. Oh, I'll do that. So yeah. So you can see, actually, so I only have one cabinet here that's actually built all the time, because that one's actually glued in place. But my two other cabinets are designed to be modular, so I can like tear them down, and they just have like the regular kind of lock, so I can like, you know, put them back together again. Let's see. So I got that. Oh yeah, I took this just because. So every time at Comic-Con now, there's a parking lot that's right across from the convention, and it always gets taken over by some company, and they do all these kind of exhibits and that kind of stuff. And I told my wife, man, I'm so tempted to like abandon my booth and just so I can get in line, because the lines were crazy, by the way. The lines would start first thing in the morning, right? You know, even like an hour and a half before the floor would open, people would already be in line in this thing, like, you know, 30 long, right? So it ends up being like a 2-hour wait. But yeah, you know, you guys know, if you watch my stream at all, you know how much I love Expand. So I was seriously tempted to just kind of like, well, the booth can take care of itself, but I decided not to. I had to pass, but I was really tempted. So another funny one. So it's a Hokusai. It's a classic wave, another woodblock print thing. But what's, I don't know if you can register it, but on the cresting waves, there are actually little puppies on the wave. Just, it's such a great touch. I love that. So I had to get a picture of that one. This is actually some guy's T-shirt, by the way, if that registered. So that was a very cool T-shirt. Dogs everywhere. Yep. Let's see. Oh, and then I started recording the scores. I talked about that. People started speed running it. So there you go. The first guy did it at 99. Second guy did it at 70, and then ultimately the best time was 58 seconds. So this one guy, David, who ended up, as I mentioned, hanging around the booth after a while, actually helped me out too. Dave was a fantastic help, by the way. Just helping handing out cards to people that I was missing. But he actually beat the game, did a speed run in 58 seconds, which I don't know how he pulled it off, but that's impressive. It's faster than I could do it. Let's see. This guy. Oh yeah. For anyone that's a John Wick fan, there you go. I like that. That was a nice touch. He's actually walking around with the doggy. Let's see. I guess that's about it. I guess I didn't take as many photos as I normally do. I got so wrapped up in trying to like talk to everyone, and it was great though. I'm not complaining though. I mean, it was fantastic that the booth stayed as busy as it did, but that just sort of did cut down on my time to actually take more photos. How much does a ticket cost to get in? I think for the entire show, I think it's up to around $275 now, but that's not the hard part. Actually getting the ticket, okay, number one, getting the ticket is a challenge because you have to wait, right? And then it's a whole lottery system, right? So just trying to get a ticket in the first place is a nightmare. Although I'm fortunate enough that I can get people a ticket with me, but that's not the hard part. The hard part is where you're going to stay. I literally, so I was doing the booth by myself. I had a secondary exhibitor pass, and I offered it to all of my LA friends, right? But I said, okay, here's the catch, because LA is close enough, right? And I told my friends, it's like, if anyone wants to come down, right, and have my exhibitor badge, they can help. All I ask for is that they help, like, occasionally, watch the booth for me, right? While I go off and, do whatever I need to, usually bathroom break, right? But I said, before you say yes, understand that the hard part is finding a place to stay. If you have family, if you have friends in San Diego, then come on down. But if you don't, it is a nightmare because the hotels, right, they're all full, and the prices are insane, man. I mean, we're talking, anything that's not like a one-star flea bag, they're charging like $300 a night, right? And then you got to pay for parking, and then you got to try and get food, right? So ironically, $275, I think that's the price, but that sounds like a lot of money, but that's actually going to be the cheapest part of your entire experience. It's a great business for everything around it. It is, absolutely, it truly is. The only reason it's even possible for me is, number one, I'm fortunate enough that my wife has a friend of hers that actually lives about half an hour, 40 minutes north of the convention center. So she's gracious enough to let us stay with her and her family. So I crash on their couch, right? And then every morning I have to drive all the way into San Diego with all the traffic. And then every night I have to drive back out, which is brutal, but it literally saves me, right? I mean, we're talking, if I get the hotel for the night I come in is like Tuesday night, and I don't leave until Monday, right? That would be easily $1,700 to $2,000 just for the hotel, right? Which is just crazy. So I do that, and then I also make my own sandwiches, so I can just stay there at the booth, and I don't have to pay $15 for a really crappy. Oh, the concession food inside the convention center is terrible, absolutely terrible. And most of the restaurants nearby just have these insane prices. They're just totally jacked up. But there is a grocery store that's just a couple blocks away. So if the wife is with me and I go fetch food, that's exactly where I go every time. I just go to the grocery store, get pre-made food. It's still pretty pricey, but it's California. But it's a lot cheaper than trying to do it in the convention center, because that's just crazy. And then the other trick is I have a ton of 2-liter drinks just underneath the table to keep me going. So that's the only reason it's viable for me, man, because otherwise it would just be too expensive and I would have to bow out. But yeah, you're right, man. It is amazing to see the massive amount. So they reported 130,000. I thought normally the number got up to 145. So I don't know if they kind of cut it, if the fire marshal said this year you have to lower the number or what. But I mean, it definitely felt like it. I mean, I showed you that video earlier of the guy walking the floor, which actually walk and talk. You might have come in a little later, so you know what? I'll indulge myself and show you that again. So if you come back here, I'll bring it back up. So let's go. Comic-Con 2019 walk floor, and this is Adam Savage. It is his tested streaming show, and we'll go back here. Actually, I just kind of come back in the middle here somewhere. So he does this thing where he kind of plays the video super fast some points, and it speeds up, and then here you go, speeds up, right? And then he'll find something interesting, and he'll slow down, right? And so this is, as I said, Adam Savage, formerly of Mythbusters. Now he has his own YouTube channel called Tested. Did you say 100,000 people? 130. Well, there you go. Take a look. There you go, man. That is just one small piece of what it looks like. Yeah, 130,000 people. Yeah, yes way. Absolutely. Some previous years, it's gone up to 145. I don't know why it actually dropped. Like I said, they must have done something where they said the fire marshal limited it, because they have no problem selling the tickets, right? That's easy to do. There are 16,000 people living in my town nearest me. Yeah, well, they would fit nicely in this convention hall with room to spare. You have just a little more than a tenth of the attending audience of this thing. So it is total insanity. Anyways, I'm gonna, okay, it's a little self-indulgent, but I'm gonna come back here. So let me come back. 6:30. Here you go.
The Hush photo.
Did they sell food and drinks? They do. They have a concession, but the food is really crappy and expensive, super expensive. So it's not worth it. I've always tried and bring my own food in, or I go to the grocery store and get food from them, because it's just, pizza's like $15, and it's like that big, and it's just really not tasty at all. Oh, let me back up here. So he went right by this. I gotta give a shout out to my buddy here. He was in the booth right next to me, or adjacent to me. But so if you know the comic strip, ow, crap, I was almost there. Let me try one more time. It's Cyanide and Happiness is the famous comic strip, and it's a really nice guy. There he is. There it is. So you can just see him in the green shirt there, right? And the hair. So he's created this game. He actually did it as a Kickstarter, and he's friends with the guys that actually do the comic strip, Cyanide and Happiness, right? And he's making a point-and-click adventure game, right? And they breezed right past it, which is a shame. But he's been there for a couple of years. He's like 2.5 years in development. He has a really small group of people working on the game, but super nice guy. But this is the aisle that's right behind me. So anyways, I'll let him talk a little bit here. And some other friends of mine too was right there on the side they passed. But so check this out. So here we go. And here's me.
There's a Tribble game? A Tribble video game. Are they just constantly breaking up and forming new Tribbles?
So there you go. So, I mean, I had the great fortune to have them briefly come by and go, ooh, a Tribbles video game, right? I mean, that was it, but at least they actually stopped, you know, and took a look. It gave you attention. Yeah, and I was oblivious, all right? It kind of breezed by too fast, but here you go. I did a screen grab earlier. There you go. So this is from the video, right? I paused it here earlier. So I'm not looking, right? I just completely missed the fact that they were shooting it. So I'm just talking away, you know, promoting the game. Yeah, really funny, good. It is. I know. I feel the same way too. Cyanide and Happiness is actually a very funny comic strip, and the game looks like it's going to be in that perfect same vein. You know, kind of like twisted sense of humor. So I look forward to it. That's going to be a very cool game. Yeah. Yeah, it was very fortunate. I was really happy about that. A buddy of mine, I didn't even know about it. A buddy of mine told me on Facebook. He's like, "Did you actually see that you got mentioned?" No. So yeah, it's now up to 89,000 views. So, wow, that's pretty cool. But I'll let this go. I jumped to a different area here, so you can see a little bit more of it. Yeah, showing the Avengers. Lego booth, and they have the Star Wars booth. Oh, I didn't know this. They had, so at the Star Wars Pavilion, they actually showed. Do I still have it up? Let me see if I can find it here. Yeah. They showed in the Star Wars booth the upcoming arcade 1-up, right? Makes these small-scale arcade replicas, right? And they've announced they're going to do one for Star Wars. And look at this, man. Oh. This is so exciting to me. This is just, oh. I don't know if you, I'm sure there's most of the people out there are way too young to remember. Star Wars arcade game. Video. Yeah, 1983. I know this dates me. I don't care. Yeah, surprisingly cheap for that. Yeah, I agree. But yeah, so here's the old classic game. So yeah, and it comes with Star Wars, comes with Empire Strikes Back, which are both vector graphics, and Return of the Jedi, right, which is raster. I read an article about you randomly about game development and small devs, and they talked about you and Tribble Troubles. Thanks. Yeah, it's the article that keeps on giving. I did that a couple weeks ago, and the whole point was to promote the online game convention. Hi. Yeah, hi. Welcome. Thank you, man. Thanks for coming in. Hello there. Welcome. But yeah, thanks. The article is supposed to be about the online indie game business convention. That's why I agreed to the interview, right? So my buddy Larry, who's also mentioned the article, he's the one that brought me in. So the whole thing was supposed to be me just kind of going, yeah, I'm participating in this online seminar and I'm happy to be a part of it. But the interviewer kept asking questions about me, right? And the article kind of ended up being more and more about me. I feel bad. It's kind of awkward because I mean I'm happy for the exposure, but I feel kind of terrible that it's sort of like the spotlight got shifted on me. And in the article, there's a picture of my Tribbles game, and then the picture of my first game, Poke with Bob, and then the video of the Tribbles gameplay. So, but yeah, thanks for finding me, and thanks for it started off as just an article that was posted here in Las Vegas. I'm in Las Vegas, and some of the local news stations, but I guess it was part of a sister company called Sinclair that has a ton of TV stations all across the U.S. So it ended up popping up on all these other random places across the U.S. So kind of funny. I mean, when I did the interview, I told my wife afterwards, I kind of went, yeah, I'm going to get like one line that says, I'm happy to be a part of the convention or the seminar and be done with it. So when the thing actually came out, it was kind of like, whoa, okay. I didn't mean for that to happen, but I was very flattered. Let's see, is that still running? Oh yeah, he's still going. But yeah, welcome, by the way. Thanks for coming by, man. I'm at this point, I'm kind of winding down, so I hope if this is your first time you're checking out the stream, I'm sorry about that, because at this point I'm just just wrapping stuff up. I started at 3 and I'm coming up to 6 where I kind of like tend to shut down. But Protopoly, hey, what's up? Hey, how's it going, man? Welcome. So I was just showing Comic-Con, which actually I was attending. Welcome, by the way. Yeah. I was demoing the game. Here's my booth. So, for anyone that's fortunate enough to actually get themselves into San Diego Comic-Con, how was it? Exhausting. Totally exhausting, but really good. Here's my booth, right? You can see all the arcade cabinets set up there, and I was there. I always tell people, if you come, just go to aisle 700 and walk to the end, right? And I'll backtrack one more time. I'm sorry, this is self-indulgent. I'm sorry. You guys have seen this a couple times now, but so this video I was playing is Adam Savage's Tested, right? And this guy was walking the floor, and it's kind of cool because he actually comes up and he checks out my booth. So most of the time he just goes really fast, so they just speed through the convention. But something that's really interesting, he'll stop, right? So I'll put the audio back up here. So we're coming to my aisle, right? Here's there you go. So, and then on the corner I have John and Christina, my friends there, that just briefly they were there for a heartbeat. But check this out. So he comes around. Right, third time I've shown this. I'm sorry. You guys can nail me for being indulgent. But check this out.
Tribble game?
A Tribble video game.
Are they just constantly breaking up and forming new Tribbles?
So they just what? They just make more Tribbles? No, that's not it. But but yeah, that was a fantastic score. I was in the, as you see me there, I'm talking away, oblivious to the fact that those guys are, you know, I mean, because it's probably shot on a phone. So I mean, even if I'd have seen it, I wouldn't recognize the fact that, you know, it was what it was. But yeah, so that was it. It's you know, in the end, I don't know exact number. I do have analytics on my games. I have to bring them off of the Android. I have the NVIDIA Shields to find the actual numbers, but somewhere in the neighborhood of around 900 people tried the game. Still nice to see. Yeah, thanks, man. It was a fun show. Really tiring, but glad I did it. It's always great for exposure. Yeah, so Protopie, I don't know if you'd been here before. I'll give you a quick look. And then I was also showing the fact that they had the Star Wars game there in person, and if I would have known, I would have left my booth and gone over and tried it out. But it comes out in middle of October. And I have a birthday coming up. I have to talk to the wife, see if she wants to, like, say, honey, all I want is just go in halvesies or something with me. You know, you don't have to be that indulgent. Just, you know, throw me some money and, you know, so I can get it and put it, like, if I get it, by the way, I will set it up right behind me. It'll be, like, right there. I got the space all set up, ready to go, man. It will be there, ready to play. Oh, okay. Sorry about that, buddy. Protopie, sorry about that. Awesome, man. Well, thanks for coming back. But yeah, so just, oh, dude, I cannot tell you how many, yeah, so it's $500. I've already played Star Wars enough times in quarters that I've paid $500, but I would love to have that thing right here, man. That is all-time favorite game for me. That one and maybe Crazy Climber. Thanks, man. Thanks for overlooking my stupidity. But, yeah. I do have one, actually, I have, let's see, here you go, see if I can do a quick push over here. There you go. Check this out. There you go. So I already have one of those. That's the arcade 1-up. That is the deluxe model. So that's the one that has like 12 games in one. So it comes with Centipede, Asteroids, Missile Command, Major Havoc, which I loved Major Havoc back in the day. So it's 12 games shoved on there. So I would love to add Star Wars to my collection, man. So I gotta seriously talk to my wife and say, you know what? Don't give me anything for my birthday. Just, you know, help split the cost on this, and I'll get this. I want that. So yeah, check back in late October. If you see it sitting there over my shoulder, you'll know I'm a very happy guy. So, you guys any questions about Comic-Con or the game itself? I don't know if there's anything else that I'm going to cover. Like I said, I'm winding down at this point. Since I have not done a stream in a couple of weeks, I'm definitely out of practice. I went to a LAN party in 2002, and they had arcade games. Although it was a PC-dominated LAN, it was great. I have so many childhood memories, man. You know, I had like an allowance of $5, but I was always doing terrible things, so I was always under restriction, so I usually never got my allowance. But there was a putt-putt course that was about an hour's walk. Well, about half an hour walk, right, from my house in my childhood. And I would frequently just go in there and just watch people play. Never had tokens, never had the money for tokens usually, but I would just watch everyone else play and live vicariously through them, and loved it, man. You know, if I ever got a token, I usually play track and field, because one of the games I could just play for like 20 minutes, right, and beat it, you know, so I knew I got my money's worth. But yeah, I love those arcade games. That's one I would love to see them make for arcade 1-up. Don't know if you guys are actually familiar with it, but I love these guys. Let's see. Excuse me. So they make these, and they just announced this one too. So anyone that's like a Street Fighter-esque hero fan of the Marvel games. So you got excuse me, Marvel superheroes, X-Men, and the Punisher. The Punisher is kind of a weird one because that's actually a beat 'em up, not like the Street Fighter style. But they've just announced that one, and it's cool because now they're starting to come with custom risers. So the games themselves are a fraction of the size, excuse me, sorry, but they add these risers to them that put it at 1 foot high, right? 1 foot higher, so the controls are actually at the same level as a classic arcade game controls were at. You know, so I mean, the arcade cabinet itself is still kind of smaller, right? It's like 5/6 scale, I think, but really happy with it. I think these guys are pretty cool. So there's my Star Wars. Excuse me, there's Star Wars, not mine yet. But Pac-Man, some classic titles. So I think they group them based on the manufacturer. So this is like Bally Midway. So you see they have Rampage, Gauntlet, Joust, and Defender, which this is kind of a poor choice in my estimation, just because how do you play Defender on a joystick layout like this, right? That is not conducive to good Defender play right there. You know, I mean, you're gonna like let go of the joystick and hit the button to the side. Kind of a poor choice in my estimation. I think it's better when it's not too tall. You can sit down and play it since you are at home anyways. That's true. And they actually sell a custom stool too, if I remember correctly. Joysticks, see if they still sell, and maybe they don't. Parts and accessories, maybe they stopped selling it, but originally they were selling these cute little bar stools. Did they stop? Let's see if they're over here. Oh, maybe they didn't actually manufacture them. Maybe they're just prototypes. But yeah, you can get just like a little like half-size bar stool. But yeah, I think these are pretty cool. Yeah, for the Galaga fan out there, Galaga and Galaxian. I played Galaxian much more than I did Galaga, and of course for the Mortal Kombat fans out there, right? And then the Golden Tee, which is funny because a lot of these games are selling for like $1.99 to $2.99, but the Golden Tee they're selling for like a lot more. I think it's like $3.99. Oh, $4.50. So they know the Golden Tee guys, right, are just a bunch of older dudes, right, that are going, yeah, you know what, I'll pay $4.50 to have Golden Tee in my house. It'd be cool if it actually hooked into like the internet, right? Because didn't Golden Tee have like global high score tables? I don't know if they're doing that or not. Anyway, sorry, I went off on a tangent there, but I think these are pretty awesome, man. And the Karate Champ, although I played that one at E3, and Karate Champ, I will destroy anyone. I played Karate Champ so much in my earlier years, but it was funny because it was a prototype they had there, and I was kind of going, okay, here's the things I think are wrong with it, which normally I don't do that kind of thing, but I had to go, dude, here's the list, man, because I would love to have this one, but only if it's perfect, Anyway, all right, guys, 6 o'clock is here. Yeah, so unless there's like any last minute questions about Comic-Con or the game progress, I may call it a day right here. But nice to be back. Nice to be streaming. Nice to see you guys again. The usual faces, Waka Talk, and thanks for coming back, buddy. I know you're like in a totally different time zone, but thanks for hanging out, man. Happy Friday to everyone. Have yourself a fantastic weekend. I am back, and my internet, it did behave. So fingers crossed. Maybe that's a good sign. Maybe I will not have to worry about it, because I almost called off the stream here just because my internet's been flaky. But we made it. We made it. I will hopefully catch you next stream. Great to see you back also. Thanks, man. Happy to be back. Looking forward to making some really good progress. I'm trying to say that the game will be coming out beginning of next year, so that's the game plan. But until then, you guys have yourselves a fantastic weekend. Hope to see you back on Monday. As always, you can reach me on Discord. It's on the link down below, so definitely come hang out on there if you want to say hello. Otherwise, I will see you again next week. All right, guys? All right, take care of yourselves, and I will see you on Monday. Adios.